Okay, cool. It's 7:14. It's called to order. I'm Ethan, the chair of the committee. Mrs. Felice, the vice chair. Um, and
Valerie.
yep, sweet.
Hi, I'm Valerie Fleming. I'm a resident member.
Hi, I'm Andrew Agnes. I'm a community board member.
And
Hi, I'm Calista, community member.
Paco, also a community member.
all right. And this is our last meeting of the year until September, before hiatus starts. And I'm sure many of you probably know that we're supposed to have a DOT presentation today. They are not going to be showing up because of some communication mishap. I think they didn't know that they were, approved to show up today. So someone dropped the ball somewhere. But I remember approving them showing up today. So that's gonna most likely be delayed until September. From what I know, they were gonna present on the Brooklyn and Kingston Avenues. I'm assuming that's related to the bike lane project and school safety things they were considering for that area. Those are gonna get moved on a couple months just because of the presentation delay today. So, moving forward, I'm gonna try to take some extra steps to make sure that doesn't happen again. But for now, since we have, so many people here who expected that, I think it makes sense that we should take some questions from everyone, just in case, you came with concerns on mind and stuff like that. So, at least get heard by us, so perhaps we can take them to DOT in the future. Alright? So the first thing I'll have us do on the agenda today would just be sort of a Q&A session between everyone that's here and the committee, so we can understand you guys. So, if you can just go by raising hands for now.
Hi, my name is Pamela Yard. I'm a resident of Sterling Street. We came because we want to know about the I Am Caribbean Plaza on Washington between Sterling Street and Empire. They're supposed to be setting up vendors and stuff. So that's what we're here to find out about that.
Okay. They were here, I think, last month, right? It wasn't I Am Caribbean. They set up the seating that's currently in that plaza, but I believe it was a Lancaster Youth Association who had done this in different places. They wanted to set up a station for vendors here for certain weekends, I believe, up until and continuing beyond Labor Day.
But how are they gonna set it up if they didn't ask the people on the block? They didn't get our permission.
So they had done a few things. At least they came and essentially said that they had gone through a few channels. One was the mayor's office asking for that, and they had said they were approved for it, but they didn't bring the documentation with them. So we didn't get the proof of their approval for that yet. They also came to the board to ask for the board's approval on it. And initially the board was the committee was pretty willing to do it because they committed to keeping the area clean, making sure that, there was ample trash collection, and we wanted to make sure that there were additional eyes on the area to help keep it clean, certainly cleaner than it would be if no one's taking care of it. So we thought that would have been a good idea at face value. I'm not aware of any requirement for a certain number of signatures from residents to be able to set up that type of vendor station. Typically, Sapo tends to be one of the avenues, but we want them to come again because they didn't show us any type of rendering of what they want to set up. So we essentially would be operating on words. We didn't see what it would look like. We also didn't see, like, in writing any hard plans for trash collection, like cadences, like how many receptacles they'd set up. It was essentially a commitment to doing it without an actual plan. So, in addition to that, they made a mistake and brought last year's dates, I believe, instead of the year they had planned to do it for this year. So, we plan to get them to return for more information and stuff like that.
So let me my name is Corin Martinez. I'm the president of the Sterling Street BMW Block Association. So, I know you know the plaza, and I know most people here, community residents, know the size of that plaza, right? It is our understanding that the permit is still pending. I think a mayor's office, it has not been approved. First of all, we do a block party and we are put through hell just to get that permit for the block party. So I cannot believe that the mayor's office will give somebody permits just because they say, you know, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and there are no requirements attached to it. That is not true. The mayor's office has totally changed. The street permits activity approval has totally changed, where you gotta get certificate, or if you're using bouncy house, or all kinds of stuff, licenses, insurance, and everything of the sort. It is our understanding that this group called I Am Caribbean is planning to apply for multiple dates to use that plaza to set up vendors. We don't know what the vendors are. We don't know if it's food vendors, because I know for us as a Black Association, we normally used to have a grill, and now they're telling us we can even have a grill to grill hot dogs on the street for a block party. So to have vendors cooking or doing the jerk chicken, jerk pork, or whatever with them from the do on that plaza, it is totally asinine that will be allowed to happen. So we don't know. I know that they sell T-shirts. This I Am Caribbean sell T-shirts and arts and all kinds of stuff. So we came to seek clarity, being that they came before the board, as to what exactly was this presentation. Was it food vendors? Was it art? Was it music? You know, what kind of presentation it is, and to raise the flag that those activities, and based on the event that this group puts together, which I understand they just did one a couple of days ago with hundreds of people that attend these events that this group put together. That they did it somewhere in Manhattan.
Times Square?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the,
That-
I Am Caribbean.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, that's them. So that plaza is no bigger than this conference room in
Twice the size of
actuality,
this room.
right? And it abuts a residential area. Most plazas are in commercial area. But Sterling Street is a residential block that will totally be affected, considering the hours that they're talking about doing it. And I don't know if this is a true schedule of hours that they presented to you guys, but there is no way in this world that any group should be allowed to be having that kind of activity from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m., abutting a residential block
okay, so I gotta clarify a few
without
things.
any kind of requirement of giving notice to a block association, which the board is very familiar about the block association, to the business Western Beef, because this is infringing also on their businesses, and other residents in the area.
So I'm gonna clarify a few things. First off, I remember when it's presented to us, I Am Caribbean is not part of this, from what I understand. They did not come here and present this. They're not attached to this proposal here.
So who, because according to one of, and I wish she was here, she got a call from Shelley, who is a representative for my
Yeah, Shirley's the
Caribbean.
founder.
She's the one that spoke to my neighbor and told her that this was their plan. And I understand there's another gentleman that is also looking for permit. So that's why I'm saying we're here to seek clarity.
Okay.
Because is it I Am Caribbean, or is it this gentleman whose name I don't know, but it was Shelley from I Am Caribbean that reached out to one of my neighbors and described what they were planning to do, having vendors, having all of this activity and whatever, and I was like, you know, what is that about? So now you say it is not I Am Caribbean, so who is it and what is their proposal? Because the next step is to go raise the flag at the controller's office, because for the board to approve something that's gonna cause disruption in the quality of life of community residents, not just for one day, but for several days, sometimes day longs, and night long up until 11 o'clock, that plaza, on top of being rat infested, there should be nobody serving any food there, because it's rat infested. If you wanna look at some pictures that I took of the overgrown grass, because it's unkept, they basically pushed that plaza down our throat, okay? This is the structure that's there now. Somebody put up some hideous looking stuff. It's serving as beds for people to lay down, okay? The grass is overgrown, there are rats, burrows on those grass. The station across the street that belongs to MTA is a rat haven. So to even think that these people are gonna be selling food or serving food until 11 PM and leaving bags out there all night long without there being any kind of demand and requirement in writing that, number one, they're gonna have sanitation come and clean that thing up as soon as they finish, because that can be arranged, and I know that for a fact. And who is gonna be responsible for cleaning all that stuff up, making sure that stuff is carted away so that whatever remnant they have of those activities not sitting there, attracting even more rats. Western Beef at one time had to basically tear down their parking lot because they have rats living under the parking lot. They had to tear the pavement and redo it again. So those of you that live in the neighborhood, you all know that. They had to literally dig out to put poison and then repave it. So it's not as simple as, well, we think it's a good plan without consulting the neighbors that are gonna be affected. We have people, the first home on Stony Street, there's an infant there, newborn. So how are you gonna have somebody beating drums or whatever they do up to 11 o'clock at night right there in the corner? Empire is a commercial strip. Sterling Street, Lefferts, etc., those are residential areas that need to be taken into consideration. So yes, I say if we are required as a block association, and we all wanna have a block party, but we are told we gotta get at least 20 neighbors to say, okay, I'm good with you closing the block, how could you say that this can happen and forget about what the residents feel about it?
There are a lot of questions in that, and I can try to answer them all one by
Yeah,
one.
well, that's what we hear.
I think if I can remember, the first question that you were asking about was about the mayor's office, right? Yeah, we didn't get proof of the approval, so so what I can say is, from what they said, they're going down that path. They've
Who's the day
contacted.
that you're talking about?
Huh?
Who's the
Yeah,
day?
who's the applicants?
Is
Is
it
it
Lancaster?
It wasn't Shirley, it was Lancaster.
So you're talking about Lancaster?
Yeah,
Who is
And
Lancaster?
that's who they have down here, Lancaster Youth Pop-Up, and that's who
Yeah.
set those
They-
things up that you see.
those structures were set up by I Am Caribbean. That was an art installation that they had commissioned through DOT,
Art.
and they installed that in the area.
Okay, let them, please, go ahead. We need to just do things in order, let him finish. Thank you.
Yeah, that was an art installation that they had installed through DOT about a week or two ago.
Mhm.
So that definitely I could say was I Am Caribbean. Shelley
Okay.
sent the invites out. Came through their email system, so that I can say was that.
Nothing was ever sent to the block residents about any of this.
Okay,
Yeah, it wasn't sent to me either. I got it through the board office. And I think it's because the board office is subscribed to their email list.
Okay.
So
you clarifying things now, listening to you, right?
right.
Because
that's what I'm here for.
you're saying that I Am Caribbean, this is some kind of art program that's operated by what city agency?
From what I saw in the email invite,
DOT.
commission.
So DOT commissioned them to put that hideous,
Well, I can't say what direction it went in. I can't say whether
Okay.
DOT asked them to do it, or if I Am Caribbean had the idea and then asked DOT to allow the installation. I'm not sure what
Okay.
direction it went in, but it
so
did
is
go
that,
through them.
is that permanent? Because I understand that this is Caribbean Heritage Month.
Yeah.
So is this for the month? Is this part of I Am Caribbean, basically celebration of the Caribbean Heritage Month, and that's gonna go away?
What I can't, so I clearly don't like that one. What I can say is it's temporary. I can't say, I don't know how long it's there
Okay.
for. I think,
Through April 2026.
there we go. So about a year. I was
Okay.
gonna say
So they have.
Provided that it survives Labor Day and Jubilee and everything, so we're
Yeah,
gonna leave it
if
like
it- if
that,
it makes
okay?
sense.
So now let's move on to,
we have one questions here, right?
no, but because that's the art, because we were told that the events, this is how it was presented, that the event, the conversation, well, the translation of the conversation that was had with the lady from I Am Caribbean said that these multiple dates, So now I understand it's two different things going on here.
Yeah.
This is why I want you all to listen and understand. So they present the one thing as one and it's not. It's two different things.
Two different things.
I Am Caribbean has the so-called art exhibit, okay? And now this gentleman is the one that's looking to bring these vendors.
Right, and what I
Okay.
can also
And
say,
are you all getting it now? So it's two
Who
different
is
things.
the gentleman
Okay.
and when did he present?
So
it?
now that is the pop-up.
No,
No,
that gentleman you're talking about is part of Lancaster?
yeah,
and was he here
So what
last
does-
month?
it's a group, they operate here as well, from what I understand.
Mhm.
They're not like, they've done work in Pennsylvania, but they also are, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they're also from
And
Brooklyn.
is it your understanding that Lancaster and I Am Caribbean are two separate
They're
entities?
two separate
They're separate, but they
They're
could
separate.
collaborate,
Yeah.
they're separate. But
Well, they won't collaborate.
I'm
They-
not
they're
sure if
supposed to
they're
be separate.
collaborating on this.
So
on
this
the vendor.
presentation this evening, so the multiple days that they have there about all this event, that's for the youth pop-up?
Yes,
So that's part of this, all of
Yeah.
those dates.
All of these dates.
And now, if it's a youth pop-up, okay, if it's a youth pop-up, right? Why would it require a 10 a.m.
To 11.
to 11 p.m. and a 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. for a youth pop-up? Because you should be covered to be here in the street those hours. I mean, that's just, and particularly in the neighborhood that we
I
in.
I can't comment as to why they picked the name that they picked, but when they presented this last month at this committee meeting for May, they positioned it as a way to sort of help, young adults who are entrepreneurial to sort of get a chance to have their, food businesses on the street, or on the sidewalk, on the plaza on Washington Avenue, to get some customers in the summer months. It's sort of like a very much, I assume, a pared down version of Smorgasburg, where you have a few vendors, I assume no more than maybe 10 max, probably even, maybe 6 to 8 or less, right? And of
But
course,
they didn't say exactly how many.
they didn't tell me.
Okay.
That's my main issue with it.
Mhm.
The idea of it, I like, because it's a rat infested area. I want someone to put eyes on it and take care of it. And if we can have someone do that and benefit the area and benefit themselves, I'm not against that at all. My issue is with the lack of details provided. I would have liked to see a drawing, at least some kind of rendering of what it would look like, how many vendors, right? I'd like to get an idea of what this is, so that other people can get that information too. What we got was more of the intention and less of the actual plan.
Now, they're on your agenda, so are they making the presentation tonight, or are they here?
They were supposed to be. Dante, the board office invited them as well as the DOT today. I am not sure if they're coming. They were here for, yeah,
So did they get the okay already to do this?
no.
Okay, that's what we need to know.
They also got, they're also supposed to appear today if they wanna be okay. So,
So when if they were to show up tonight, and since they already presented, I gather that they got a list of requirements and things that they were supposed to come prepared
yeah,
as to how many vendors, who are these vendors, is it food? You say food, so I gather it's food, is it food? What arrangement has been made with the Department of Sanitation to pick up all of those bags at the end of the event, not the day after? Because unless they're gonna have containers like that we homeowners are required to buy to keep the rats out. So if they're gonna set up just, black bags, all
Yeah,
full
no,
of
that
with
was-
chicken bones
right,
and
that
all
would-
kinds of
that
stuff
wouldn't be
there,
enough.
that would be totally asinine.
agreed.
Because
I just
I'm
wanna-
telling you, and you all can go, well, you all live around here, just go there and look at the boroughs.
Yeah.
Okay, go there and, I drive to there because I come home late, the rats that be running in and out of that MTA lot that's right across the street.
Everywhere.
So to leave any kind of garbage, any kind of stuff scattered around there overnight, and particularly if they do it on a Friday night or Saturday night, is that supposed to sit there all night? So I know for a fact that sanitation, there's arrangement that can be made with sanitation, just like we can do when we finish our block party, to say, this event is ending at 10, we need the garbage picked up at that time, we need all that garbage picked up. Are they gonna sweep up the area?
Agreed?
I have some concerns.
Please, one second, can you, share it for me for a bit? I'm gonna write some of those down for next time.
Do you know what activities can actually be carried out at the council? Legitimate activities. I mean, I know about the permits for the art installations and so people, I understand that. My concern is about what activities can legitimately take place out there, because I'm concerned about sanitation, health and safety. I'm concerned about insurance. Do these people, whoever it is, do they have insurance? Do they have food certificates? Do they, I mean, who's going to enforce all the protocols? They're gonna have food and leave it in bags and wait until Monday for the sanitation to come? We already have, as Carmen mentioned, we have rats already. So this will be rats, this will be more like a rat festival. Okay, at the end of the day. And the fact that the proposed, event planner, or whatever, is not here, speaks volumes. Okay, we're now in the middle of June, and I've seen dates as early as July 4th. So we need to just nip this in the bud and get rid of it. Does the board have to approve something to go to, does the committee have to approve something to go to the board?
The committee had approved the first presentation.
For what, the art installation?
No, not for that, for the vendor pop-up.
That needs to be pulled back because.
No, we already did that, we already took care of that, we want them to come back because
Well, wait, I
when
thought
they-
you just said you
Said they,
approved
the
something.
committee
we
approved it.
yes,
Approved it to go to the board next
yes,
week?
yes, but to be finished, when we realized that they gave us the wrong dates, we wanted them to come back and do a better presentation, so we're not gonna.
And that's what they're supposed to do tonight.
Yeah,
So
Okay.
that's
So-
reason you gotta pull back the
So
approval.
what's the status of the
well,
approval then?
the
It's
commi-
pending,
it's pending.
it's
The committee
pending
can-
at the mayor's
The committee
office.
can make a recommendation for the board, but we also don't have to put it on the floor at the general board meeting for the board to approve it. So, there
Is
is.
that the plan?
Huh?
Is that the plan? For you not to put it on the?
Yeah, we're not gonna advance it further unless they come back.
But you said, I'm a little confused. My understanding is when the committee approves something, it goes to the board for vote. So now you're saying you're not gonna, you're gonna pull back the approval, or it's pending? I don't understand.
it hasn't gone to the board yet.
Right,
It is all still in committee action, it hasn't gone before the board, it will go before the board after tonight.
So the
Well,
board will
should they
vote
present-
tonight.
that's also not, that's
Well,
also not
should they
exactly-
present or whatever, but anyway, so we're here to say don't.
And the
Right.
fact that they're not here further exacerbates the whole thing about this just being.
Yeah, we feel the
Yeah.
same, we feel the same way. And just to clarify the whole approval thing, yeah, if the committee approves it, it does mean that we then can advance it to have the board approve it, but we don't have to. If we feel like we actually decided we need more information, we can just
Yeah, I know.
leave it and it never goes anywhere,
I know,
right? So that's where it is right now.
yeah,
Time
might-
is of the essence, because like I said, this is the middle of
But
June.
it's
Well,
Did
yeah,
they
Yeah,
put
they
in,
have
did
June
they put in the
19th one, yeah.
permit to the mayor's office to bypass
They
this?
wanna know if we wanna come in contact with them for them not to proceed with this.
that can also be a good,
well, normally the board communicates with SAPO.
right.
So, and again, if we're talking about food vending, they have a strict requirement for block parties. So street fairs are even more, stringent when it comes to approving permits.
Right.
So if they haven't presented a legitimate plan to this committee, I doubt that they have submitted the required documents, to SAPO
Right.
to approve, this permit.
Yes.
And they still have to, reach out to vendors, for participation, et cetera. So my thing is, even if they came tonight and made a grand presentation where you all were blown away, and you just said, this is wonderful, and we should go ahead and do this, there has to be things attached to this. There has to be, not permits, the word is
Conditions.
condition, right,
Okay.
thank you.
Protocols.
Conditions attached, just like, the liquor license, they say, okay, well, we will approve and continue you cutting your hours, from 3 PM to 2 AM. So we want you to stop at 10. So even if they came, like I said, and they brought everything else, we saying this, the length of time for that, a day long to 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night is crazy for a plaza that's the size of this office. To have, even you have 10 vendors, you may control the vendors and say, okay, we're gonna have 10 vendors. But who's gonna control the hundreds of people that are gonna converge on the plaza to just sometimes just to be curious or to eat or whatever, or just to hang out? And who's gonna be in charge of crowd control? Is the precinct gonna be involved managing the crowd? If they're not closing the street, how are they gonna control the people merging onto the street and disrupting traffic and causing all kinds of havoc?
This,
Because this to me will lead to a whole lot of problems. This plaza is not the Parkside Plaza, is not those other large plaza where, it's adequate. This is a small little triangle. This thing looked to me like should be taken to the front of Plaza Park on the Flatbush Avenue side, where you got that whole big plaza and people can, the overflow can go into the park and, nobody is being kept up at night and whatever. But I just think that, it's not, I totally agree with, giving people a chance. Vendor, I'm all for that. I'm a community person. I've been doing it for over 50 years. I'm all for that. But you also have to take into consideration the community that is taking place in, the kind of residence that it is. Like I said, this is abutting a residential block. It's not, if it was on Empire Boulevard, but this is affecting, our home. I mean, even during Jubei, we have to have the police department close off our street. Because people will come and kill our plants, they urinate on our plants, defecate on them. It was all kinds of nasty stuff where the precinct actually comes and block it off, where if you don't live on the block, you can't even walk through. You have to go around. So this is just for Jubei. Imagine if you talk about all of this weekend, and the first one might not be a huge one, but once people get word, the word is out that this is happening, it's happening on these days, and then you right there 2 blocks from Eversfield. We know some characters there, Rite Aid is paying the consequence now because they used to come in there and shop for free after midnight. So the whole thing is that you have
That's
to,
a pharmacy.
They're closing on the
They
17th.
closed it
The
because-
17th is the last day.
when they were open, they decided to open 24 hours, which was a big mistake.
They went bankrupt though, the whole chain went bankrupt.
Yeah.
They went bankrupt, but that one was suffering long before they went bankrupt, because I used to stop over there at midnight, and I used to see people leaving there with their jackets stuffed with all kinds of stuff. And they, and no, there's no security, so they were suffering long before that. The minute they opened 24 hours, it became, let's go to Rite Aid and get what we need for our house, kind of stuff. So we're trying to basically preserve the quality of life on our block, not just our block, our neighbors, okay? We don't want to attract undesirables, and they're everywhere, and they're looking for places to hang out at. And we don't wanna feed the rats. We don't want them to say, and by the way, the rats do communicate, in case you don't do rat accounting. So we don't want the rats to spread the word that this is gonna be happening here every weekend, come and dine out.
They have great memories.
That's a good point if you ask me.
So these are all the concerns that, that we have, and like I said, I'm all down for giving, businesses an opportunity, I'm all down for all of that. But you also have to take into consideration the area and how it's gonna affect the residents. So that is our concern. So if this gentleman comes tonight, we hope he does, then we can share those concerns with them. And I will actually reach out to the mayor's office tomorrow and share my concern myself.
That's fair, please
I have a
do.
thought too.
Yeah.
There's an active driveway in that plaza into Western Beach.
Yeah, what's the
And
name?
who's going to be responsible for children running around, cars going in and out from your grocery shopping? It's in the middle, it's in the plaza, it's not on the corner or the side. And it's very active. People go scooting out of there and, I don't know, there's
No,
kids and
it's just
dogs running
inappropriate.
around.
That kind of activity is not appropriate for that plaza. You know, people displaying their art, I'm all down for it, you know. But vendors and, you know, people gonna bring their bottles in a brown bag and shove it down with their food. And, I mean, it's just asking for trouble with it.
So, yeah, I already got pictures of people sitting there drinking already, sitting on the art installation.
And they leave their
So,
garbage.
And they leave the
Yeah.
garbage behind.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's an eyesore now as it is with all that overgrown, grass and stuff there.
I have a question also.
I'll be quite honest with you, I didn't even know they were putting this art there.
It was very-
We didn't
Yeah,
know
so
we
we
saw
saw
it.
it. Nobody in the community.
Nobody seemed to be.
He just popped up overnight. I went towards, I was like, what the hell is that ugly stuff there?
I thought it was a little cabana when I walked by.
No.
Bench on the question in the back?
Yes.
Then we saw
Are there
the horse
plans for
heads.
music also?
No,
We don't
from
know.
from what I understood, it was supposed to be a small thing on the sidewalk alone,
Okay.
no street closures, because it seems like some
Right.
people think there might be streets closed, no street closures.
Right.
Which is part of the reason why it was an easier application than, and why the 20 signatures weren't needed. Those are typically for street closings and for block parties. Unless your block party will be on the sidewalk, which will be a pretty small block party. But yeah, it was intended to be a few food vendors on the sidewalk of the plaza. So you know how when you see some people doing jerk chicken on the side, or on Nostrand Avenue down by Maple, you might see
I
somebody
was just
with a
wondering
grill.
about music, cause then that draws people just, and you have a crowd.
Yeah,
that's
from what I
not-
understand, no music. They were, from what I understand, they're trying to essentially like harness the higher
Right.
foot traffic to just get some people to get some more business, and have a few vendors on that corner. So you know, Labor Day, etc. When people are walking off of their
I wouldn't.
lunch and stuff like
But
that.
this says
I don't see
from,
that.
August 27th to September 27th on this paper, on this schedule, so that's over a month.
Yeah, we did not see that in our presentation. They, from what I recall, if Paco can correct me if I'm wrong, they had it ending at around Labor Day, right? I don't think they had beyond that.
Well, Labor Day weekend is when they have it.
Well, I believe they mentioned food because they were focusing on having the place cleaned and, you know, taking care of food waste. So I think there might have been some food in the mix, but even so, it wasn't gonna be only food.
Yeah.
So due
But-
to
but-
the
yeah, but you need
vagueness
a
of this
license.
entire proposal, which is like a pig in a poke, I don't see how it could be considered for anything. As far as I'm concerned, the fact that they're not here today, they defaulted.
That's what we think. That's what we think the same thing as you, that's what we
But
think too.
getting back, you said that the transportation committee approved the pig in the poke from last month that have wrong dates from last year?
We didn't know there were wrong dates until afterward.
So then that invalidates,
Exactly,
Their proposal.
that's one part of the
have they
reason
been
why.
notified? Call
They
them
were
right now,
notified,
tell
yeah,
them.
a month ago they were notified.
We got a conference call.
They were notified a while ago. Yeah, like we actually are doing our jobs here. Like we are following up and making sure that people.
Time out, time out.
What's up?
So this invalidates the proposal.
Yes.
So what is the action item here?
There is no action.
There is an action, we are supposed to tell them that
The
this
action
is
It's to
Cancel.
decline.
Is to inform the mayor's office that the board does not approve
absolutely.
of that activity.
I
Because
second.
the mayor's office takes the board approval, before they even approve a permit, and I know that because I was a board member for 100 years. And I did all of that stuff with Willie Baker. Right, well, okay, you'll know. So I know the process,
Carmen,
and,
Carmen, 150.
right, SAPO will not approve any permit before it goes before the board. So the board has to say to SAPO, we approve, and we don't we disapprove. Once you disapprove, first of all, if they serving food, they have to have license from the Department of Health.
And insurance.
They have to have all of that in
Yeah.
place. If they plan to jerk their chicken on site, they have to have, I'm telling you, because I know what SAPO requires.
Yeah.
You know, we used to be able to grill hot dogs all day long, now they're telling us, oh no, you better not light no grill.
Gotta
Right.
go off
So
the
all
street.
of this stuff changed. So for vendors to gather in a plaza and sell food is not that simple for SAPA to approve a permit. They have to go through the Department of Health, they have to go through the fire department, it's all kinds of agencies that have to come, they have to go before and apply for all kinds of approval and certificates and insurances and all that, because we have to do it. For, just for a block party, that's amongst us, the neighbors. So to have people come from the street, you know, and all that other stuff, I don't see it happening. But to me, the fact that they are aware that they, you know, in order for them to do this thing, what, July 4th, they have to have an action from the board long before. We're still waiting for our permit for the 4th of July.
We're throwing a lot of dates out there, but if you
Yeah.
look closely at this actually begins on June
19th.
June 4th.
Well, June 4th have passed, so we don't even have to go back there.
This is what they put in writing.
So,
Yeah.
So I wasn't here the day that vote took place, so I'm sure that the chairperson and the group will decline.
Yeah. I mean, if you're asking us to reach out to SAPA and like advise them not to approve it,
Yes,
that's fine, we
please.
can do that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's fine.
that we will
You
greatly
have to vote
appreciate
on
it.
that as a
Yeah.
committee, so
I
that,
don't think we have to, I can go through the board office.
so this is not gonna go to the board to make any kind
No.
of next week.
If it was gonna go, it would have gone last month, but we didn't wanna do that because we needed a better presentation.
Which
So
would
no,
have been tonight,
which would have been tonight,
Right.
okay.
which would have been too late for their schedule anyway,
Mhm.
but yeah.
So whatever notice you're sending to these folks, you're gonna share with the community?
We could, but I don't have all of your emails, so I can't do that, I'll have to ask the board office to do it for you.
Or you can do a mass mailing like they do all the time with.
Yeah, you could do
They
it,
can
that's
put it on the
Can you just send
website,
it to the president
Yeah.
of the
I mean,
association
I'll-
so that they?
yeah, and then you could
I'll
put it
know
on the
about it.
website.
that's fine, yeah, we can do it, I'm just saying, I can't.
No, I understand, I
Right.
understand, no, I understand.
Right.
I
So they
mean,
could send it to Carmen?
no, I'll get it.
Yeah.
Also put it on the website.
What I can do is I can send it to you via the board's WhatsApp channel.
Yeah.
We have a WhatsApp channel, I can send it to that.
Yeah.
That I can directly do.
You can put it right on the website.
I can't edit the website,
Yeah.
Who does?
the board office.
So anyway,
We'll work it out.
we, you know, we just wanted to, once the alarm went off, we just wanted to make sure that you understood our concern.
Yeah.
And not just for us, for our neighbors. You know, we have neighbors on Lefferts and Lincoln and, you know, this is just, and, you know, and even on Washington Avenue, you have all sorts of,
Right.
Sullivan, you know, we have new neighbors from
Yeah, bring them
Sullivan.
all here.
Right? Now, I thought they would have appeared today because this would have been their last chance until
Mhm.
mid-September. Cause now it's really canceled if
Right.
they can't appear until mid-September. But since they're not here, it's almost 8, yeah, it makes sense for this to just not even have another chance.
There's a
So,
question
yeah,
back here, is this
Yeah,
just
that's
a
fine.
question?
You probably answered this already, but I see that there's all these open fundraisers, but I'm hearing just one fundraiser dealing with art? Or is these like those pop-up events that happen at the plaza? I mean, all of these dates here, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many are fundraisers. With regards to the dates, these are,
That was a proposal from,
yeah, it was a
from,
proposal.
that's a proposal from the applicants. So the board, that's not the board pushing that. So in other words, the applicant came and they presented a dream.
Yeah,
And that was basically it. This is what we wanna do and this is how we want to do it, but there was no actual plan in place.
right.
So the reason I'm asking that too is because if you have one thing, and hopefully it doesn't get out of control, but it could, it opens up the door
Sets a
for everything else, and which
That's what you said.
we may not have any control over, so I think that's, I mean, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, part of the way that I try to at least move on this board is to not have to approve everything. Like, people say that a lot where if you approve one thing, it opens the door for all the rest. I don't have a problem saying no to things, and
You don't.
no, I don't. And if, you know, one gets approved and another one doesn't, that's the whole point of coming here, coming to us. Like, if we have reasons to say no, we're not a rubber stamp. We can look at the proposal and say no to it if we don't think it's gonna be, you know, a good fit for the area, or, you know, even, you know, plan in a way that's beneficial to the area. So I try to do the opposite of that. I try to make every approval be on its own, one approval, and not to just say, well, this type of thing is fine.
Yeah.
Could all get approved.
So what's gonna happen with those little cabanas that are in the plaza?
If that didn't go through us, I assume they're gonna be up until next April.
So that is the thing that you said was approved by the mayor's office, correct?
What?
And then by the DOT, the cabanas.
It was something commissioned.
Art installation.
installation.
They
Right.
put
So-
a permit in to the DOT for the art installation and got approved. So now could they put a permit in to the DOT for the vendors?
I don't think that was a,
The
that
art
was a permit.
installation didn't pass through us.
That's not a permit.
Okay,
It's basically, you know, if you, the mayor, the DOT and Parks Department, and even DOE, whatever, you know, sometimes they commission certain things, whether it's art, whatever. So apparently DOT, these people must have presented some kind, just like the citizen committee, you know, when you ask for funding to beautify your block or whatever. So more than likely, they have some kind of program where, you know, you as an artist, and I understand them more now that you explaining that was I Am Caribbean, because this is Caribbean Heritage Month. So, and I guess this is a way of them expressing their pride. I mean, I wish it was more beautiful, but.
now, art is in the eye of the beholder.
Right,
you know.
so this is, that's, you know, that's just a commission, kind of like you commission an art piece, or you commission something to display in a live, you know, in a museum or something like that, so that's what that is, you know, which wouldn't come before the board, because that is, you know, the Plaza Big, so that's the Parks Department, and DOT, that's that own
Yeah,
the
that
plaza.
process doesn't
Yeah.
come through here, at least not yet.
Mhm.
Maybe it will one day, maybe it won't, I'm not sure. But I do wanna ask you all a question, and, I mean, I might know the answer to some of this, but if you were to get a proposal like this for that same plaza, for helping vendors or people of that sort, what would you like to see in their presentation?
So I think,
What would make you approve?
some of that has been answered, because not in order of priority, but the rats, the communication with the agencies, specifically sanitation. We don't wanna see open trash containers, we wanna see things containerized. The hours of operation, just like Carmen said, when we were talking about liquor licenses, they may have wanted to be open until 2 AM, but the condition is, no, you're gonna close at 10 or whatever. For us, we
Well,
don't
stop
want.
serving liquor at 10
Right.
o'clock.
Stop serving liquor. For us, we don't want activity, and I guess we need to come up with a number, but I might be in front of the group, but I would say maybe 6, 7 PM, right? That's the latest. These hours are not acceptable, right? So,
The lights go out.
if that's the short answer, those are some of the priorities. We wanna see, cleanup, not just on the plaza, but as was said, when we have to endure Juve, we have unmentionable things going on deep into the block. So if you have activities with hundreds of people, when they leave, they're walking down Sterling Street.
They're walking down Crown Street.
They're
I've had
walking-
some people
yeah.
to go right into my neighbor's yard, in
Right.
their yard.
So-
to go to the bathroom.
So one of the things that we need is we need real containerized, trash receptacles that are someplace on Sterling Street, so that when a person leaves, they might not be the person who wants to just normally throw their stuff in the street, but I don't see any place to put it. We've invested in planters. If you've ever walked down Sterling Street, there are about, how many, 6 planters, right? That now we have residents in, you know, who are just taking the random amount of stuff, garbage, out of those planters. You imagine if you do something like this? You know, listen, we were the greenest block in Brooklyn, hello? Right? We won that award for a reason, Now we're not trying to reverse it and become,
Dirty is block trash.
so these are some of the things that we would wanna see, right?
I also
Hours
would
and
wonder about
sanitation.
bathrooms, porta potties.
Oh,
Yeah.
People
don't
are
even-
there for hours and hours and hours, you talk about people peeing in people's yards, I see it happening
Yeah.
between cars on
Yes.
Sterling Street. And-
So I'm gonna be more
And if
direct.
you have vendors there,
It was like, we should have one person.
vendors there for so many hours,
Yeah.
they can't, the Western beef, I mean, where are they gonna go? And where are the kids
Yeah,
gonna go?
well,
And
Western
so
beef
do
not
they
gonna
need,
happen.
porta potties?
Yeah, right. That also does actually link into another issue we had, which was DOT and their toilet installation, all the way down Washington Avenue by the BP gas station. They intend to install a public toilet there,
Wait.
so that might take some of the heat off of the neighborhood. Give people a place to actually go.
I don't think they know that.
Oh, they are doing those public bathroom on Washington?
Yeah, like the one that's on Grand Island
Yeah, I
Plaza
know,
right now.
yeah.
They're installing, they plan to install one on Washington, near the edge of the BP gas station that's there.
It was gonna be on Flatbush, not Washington.
Well,
That's
it's,
Flatbush
yeah.
and Lincoln.
You guys
On the Flatbush side, but
Yeah.
The
down-
triangle.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, that triangle over there.
Mm-hmm.
Across the street from the soda place.
No, on the other end, where the bike, where the bike.
Oh, on the Lincoln side.
Yeah,
On the
yeah,
Flatbush,
Yeah.
Lincoln side, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did that get approval from the community? I mean, do they know about this? I think one of the biggest challenges that I'm seeing is the lack of communication. And that's like major, okay, because right now, the fact that we're here for this meeting and the other people are not, that angers me because they haven't even called you probably, right, to say that they canceled the summer camp.
It seems, well, are you referring to DOT or the Lancaster youth folks?
Oh, no, I'm a
She's
resident.
talking about communication.
I'm talking about communication by DOT or by the people who want to do the vending.
Yeah, typically DOTs are good with this. Today, I think they didn't know they were approved to come, which is why I didn't hear them. I had to figure that out in the first 10 minutes of the meeting today.
So my point is, I'm going back to communication. There is a real lack of communication going on.
We're trying to solve that. We're trying to solve that. I had pushed for us to launch the WhatsApp channel so that we can let people know when we're gonna have presentations, because right now, all we can do is send out e-blasts, and sometimes they go out. I'm not sure if an e-blast went out about this. There was supposed to be a flyer that had the DOT presentation on it, that would have gone out.
No,
So-
it's on the website, it's about the e-blast.
Yeah, so I'm saying like, their communication could be a lot better. I agree. I think what I wanna fix is when we have presentations from folks and there's gonna be like 2 residents here. Like, I'd rather we have a full house when an agency will present, or even when there isn't a presentation happening. You know, or the second Wednesday of every month, so I would expect folks to, huh? Oh, okay. So, like, my thing is I want people to know what's happening here and come and show up and, you know, say what their opinion is, and be part of the conversation. And I think in some ways we're getting a little better at that, but sometimes it doesn't happen. With regards to the public toilet, yeah, that's been approved by the committee and the board.
Where is it gonna be?
It's gonna be
Gas station.
the triangle where Flatbush and Washington and Lincoln Road
Oh,
cross.
Yes.
right across from
It'll be on the
Drake
front.
Place.
By the UPS store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right,
Right, like where the wholesome grocery used to
Oh.
be, right
The
across the
little
street.
triangle.
Okay,
But it would be in the triangle, not on the sidewalk
Mhm.
of the actual
okay,
street.
that's good.
Yeah.
So that would be the only one? I'm
Yeah.
My curiosity.
Yeah, it's gonna be the only one.
Especially when I've seen, you know, even before the parade and everything.
It's
I
gonna
forget
be,
what the day before is, but, you know, you see people hanging out, laying on cars and all this
Okay.
other stuff.
yeah, they only
But
got one
also,
plan
but
now.
also, why wouldn't this be kind of like near the park, since they have more space.
Well, it's about a block
Porta
from
potties,
it's about one
for the
block from the
presentations and everything.
There are
They have
bathrooms
bathrooms in the park.
Hmm?
There are
They have
bathrooms in the
bathrooms
park.
in
This
the
is
park.
a,
No, I know,
Some people
they
not
get the
going
park.
to the park, go to the bathroom.
I'm just talking about
Right.
some of these activities,
They just walk in.
you know,
This is
because you
a-
have bigger, you know, you have
These
wider
vendors.
streets. Plus you have, I think you have more traffic, you know, going up and down Flatbush Avenue there. You know, there's a whole lot of events that go on, you know,
So,
in the
I
park.
Yeah. A question about the, do you know what is their their cleaning schedule for those public?
They clean themselves.
They
clean themselves.
Oh, it's self-cleaning, ooh,
Yeah,
thank
I
God.
believe we have. I think I have a video.
Yeah, they had a video that showed at so many hours or whatever, then
I-
it automatically.
Okay.
It's cleaned every day by staff, but after every use, it's self-cleaning.
Okay.
And it it like automatically opens every 15 minutes, so you can't get locked in or no one could be hiding in there or
Well,
anything.
hopefully
like that.
nobody's sitting there with the 15.
Yeah.
I mean, we laugh, but, you know, people can be doing drugs or anything,
Yeah.
which makes it even worse. You know?
That's why it.
You know, we say
it has
15
automatic
minutes and we
attention.
laugh about it, but I don't think that's funny because the person comes out in the wrong frame of mind. And as somebody mentioned about children, I think, in the neighborhood.
I think this was a
Just saying.
campaign for throughout the city, because there are no like
yeah.
public restrooms.
No, I know, it's all the
I
city
get that
council
too.
was
I get
fighting
that
and
too.
so,
And
so I'm
that's
good with that.
bad.
And we kind of brought up a lot of these things at the time of the meeting, you know, who's gonna clean it, what's gonna happen, people lingering, safety and all that stuff, so allegedly they got a plan
Okay.
for that.
Allegedly.
But I think you can go to whoever the website is for the agency that's doing that. I can't remember the name of the company, and you can see a little bit more
Okay.
detail.
Okay.
In
Yeah, I
the
was
different
concerned about the cleaning.
locations
Yeah.
throughout the Brooklyn
That
as
could be
well.
a state project.
Perfect.
Alright, well, thank you, you know, thank you, for hearing us.
Yes.
Thank you for, you know, accepting our concerns and, you know, I'm glad to say, and now we have some clarity, because it was a little confusion as to who was doing what, and, you
The
know, that's
clarity
a
is that we
down.
still don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, but the way that it was put, like, you know, it was this I Am Caribbean and you know, and so we like, who is this I Am Caribbean and whatever, so now, you know, now we know it's two different things. The I Am Caribbean is the art, and, you know, the, but for a youth pop-up, I think those hours are totally unacceptable. I mean, I don't have a problem with them doing youth pop-up during appropriate hours. You know, when youth are supposed to be in the street, but nobody should, no youth should be hanging out to
Have residents on the block had issues with what has happened there, I think, last year? I know I've seen vendors there before. I don't know who permitted, but it was
It was
just
just one day.
Yeah.
It's
One
one
day.
earlier.
I feel like I've seen it more than one day.
And there's been
I mean, we don't have a problem, you know, like when you ask
Like,
the
I never
question,
saw
if-
food there, I saw like jewelry.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's the thing,
Right.
that's the thing, you know, if you're talking about art exhibit, if you're talking about youth, you know, craft and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But food,
Right.
because
There's a
we,
difference.
I mean,
Music.
we've been dealing with this for years with this rat situation, and not just us, Western Beef and everybody, you know, and I don't even know how Papa and them survived it with all that stuff. But it's just like,
They
yeah,
got some of the rats or.
Yeah,
like,
you know,
like-
so the whole thing is, you know, if there's already a problem, you don't add to it.
Right.
You know, and I know that, you know, no matter how many times they're gonna tell you we're gonna clean up, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. They get ready to leave, they're gonna back up, throw, and get the hell out of it, because they don't live there. You know, so.
Yes. It feels like we found out about this by accident, and even just looking at the agenda, we thought it wasn't on the agenda, because we had never heard of the Lancaster Youth Pop-Up. So I don't know if there's a way to make it more descriptive on the agenda, that it's like a proposal for that plaza for the summer, you know, just like make it so that a resident could look at that and understand
Yeah, I can
what's
do
gonna
that.
be addressed, yeah.
Yeah.
Or if there's outreach to the Block Association
We'll definitely do that.
beforehand, yeah.
We'll be back.
So we appreciate y'all coming out and sharing your concerns as a block, so that we have, cause you're living it, you're going through it and have gone through these type of things before. And, we appreciate you coming down and sharing. I took notes, Ethan took notes, Paco took notes, and I just wanna say that if you review the video, I brought up the fact of who's got the license, whatever from the video of the last meeting when those people came here. So I want you to know that we did ask some questions, because you just can't show up and set up and think that's okay. You know, but I do yard sales in front of my house every now and then, so if you want some jewelry, come on by.
I mean, the next thing on the agenda is dining out. So speaking about, the rats telling people to come dine out, we were trying to prevent those.
Oh, they know where those restaurants are, trust me. They got a dining out guy.
Alright, so, the
Is there
only
only
other.
one copy of each?
Huh? Yeah, for sure. There is like, I think, a few of these. Categories too.
Of each?
Yeah, they,
This is one of the things that they have in front. This is one of the
One more thing, before we go, if you are not on the WhatsApp channel, please join, because the goal I have for that is to use it more as a way to communicate with the public in a timely way, not so that we don't have to always sort of ask someone to send out a blast about something. If something happens today, someone can text the public about it today or within minutes, and I think that would help a lot of issues like this.
How do we get onto that?
There's a
Right,
QR
just
code
scan-
right
just
here
scan the QR
on the
code.
bottom left side of this paper, any of the
Yeah,
agendas.
scan it.
Scan that, please join, and you'll be updated about things, at least
And
from
that's
my
the
end.
transportation committee,
Well, it's,
community, or CB9?
it's CB9, but we use it the most. This committee uses it the most. My goal is to have more, more committees start using it, but for now, you'll hear from me and this committee a lot. Well, not a lot, but as things happen.
Question on that,
Yeah.
scanning the code, because I'm kind of like a little various now.
Yep.
What's the other way to contact?
There is email as well.
Yeah.
You can email in.
You sign
And
in.
it's
You
posted
could
on the
also-
CB9.
On the website?
You sign up to CB9.
You can sign up for the e-blast.
Yeah, you can sign up for the e-blast as well. Send out an email every week that contains
So
updates on what's happening.
CB9, you said CB9?
Yeah, there's the e-blast, the email list. They send out updates weekly, so you can see events happening and updates on things that we're putting out.
It's on here.
Yeah.
It's here.
Oh.
I'm like, let me go find out what they got. Because they presented totally.
If we have no other questions, we're gonna move on to the dining out applications, all right?
Okay.
So,
You don't have no
you
objection
wanna
to
stay
people
with
getting
that?
out, right? Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, before y'all go, has everyone been heard?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We good. Well, I'm
Okay.
good.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's not pertaining to why we're here, it's pertaining to.
Yeah, it's for outdoor dining.
To
when
the
you have
outdoor dining.
restaurants.
Looking at this,
They have to
are
apply for
these
that.
the only restaurants that have applied for the summer or the seasonal permit so far?
They've been applying since April. They've been applying for all of this year so far. We approved all of them that applied, so I haven't seen any issues with them. The only issue we saw was, I think, with Ish or El Patron, one of those, I think it was Ish, their application, but they had already changed it to be, friendlier, they got rid of what we saw as the issue.
Because this is the new procedure coming out of COVID, right?
Yeah.
Where it's only for a certain number of months, and then it has to be taken down.
I believe from April to November, right? Or October?
Yeah, but that's if you're doing the sheds in the street. These are just tables on the sidewalk.
Oh.
So there's
No one-
sidewalk permits and
Yeah.
then street
Right.
eateries, which are in the street. These are all sidewalk.
No one in our
So-
neighborhood is doing a sidewalk, a street thing.
No, they-
And so far, no one is.
It's at the sidewalk cafe.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a road cafe and
Yeah, the sidewalk cafe.
This is a table and chairs on
Yeah.
the sidewalk.
But would street, applications come before you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
would.
would,
Okay.
if there are any, they
Right,
should.
but so far there haven't been any.
No.
I think they're probably gonna be a little lax, cause it's the first year we're doing this, but we expect, hopefully enforcement to ramp up.
Yeah.
Sterling
That's
Street, I'm on.
that's it. Everything else is moved to the. Alright, so the first one, these are different, these are not all the same. I have the one for Cove.
Like you got something. You don't listen when you start hollering and screaming and calling people's names.
Yeah, let's take care of the upper show first.
I think I had life insurance.
Alright.
Okay,
Thank you again for coming.
Thank you for coming, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Night. Thank you, going, Jeff.
Don't forget to watch the mayor on the way tomorrow.
I'm on
a
little further down.
And Jeff, yeah.
Next spot down.
Thank you.
My questions are no shoes.
This neighborhood, on Flatbush, I mean, they're all over the place.
No, that's not legal.
Just rest of the meeting.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Right around the corner from there.
Yeah, there might not be an outcome that you can provide.
Oh, that's Jeff.
Yeah, how are you?
I've been hearing a lot about you.
Not bad.
You don't want to know. Everywhere and back.
I hit that.
We're gonna catch you.
Roger that.
All right.
All right.
Good to see you, Jeff.
Maybe in the 4 years ago, I was like, this person
We'll
was
see.
my head.
Who knows
First class on this.
Maybe that's all right.
We don't like how they, we didn't like the.
This lady today was, well, she doesn't live in here, and she turned 95. And she had a birthday, oh my God, it was so many beautiful people there, it was incredible. Her son gave her a full prize birthday party.
Is that from the CBS?
So this was from.
Which one first? Let's do that.
Yes, because okay, we're gonna do the Trump first.
I was there.
1099.
Oh, wow.
Alright guys, let's do El Patron, who has that one? So.
I guess it's the Isaiah Court, 45 Isaiah Court.
If you want to
No,
make it road.
that's.
Oh, that's
Oh,
That's cupcakes,
it's by
it's
Brenda.
cupcakes.
Yeah, but it might not.
Oh, this is Trump.
Let me
Trump is
see.
this one.
Yeah, I have a truth too.
Which committee is dealing with that? What's that? These,
Trump is gonna
compost,
be nice.
things for the house.
I'm gonna have to guess that's probably environmental protection.
Okay.
Alright, can you get permission? I can use a few.
I just saw them, I was
You
like,
gotta
I
ask.
haven't seen those in a
It
while.
says do not touch pretty clearly.
Yeah,
You gotta ask about
I
that.
see that. You know
That might
that
have
the
been
city
for
gave
the-
those away
Yeah.
when they first introduced composting. Years and years ago, I haven't seen them since.
That might have been for our party that we didn't have last weekend, but we're gonna have it the 28th.
Only for composting.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
y'all.
yeah.
All right.
Take care, Jeff.
Take care. They might have some brown trash bags if you want them, yeah.
I got some notes ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, we have the El Patron here, because it is, you know, it's their assumed name.
What's this cupcake?
The legal name is Cupcakes by Brenda.
Which one we going, which one we going?
Let's just go in order and do Lincoln Road, 51 Lincoln. just make sure they got enough space, they got everything right, got 10 foot clearance, so they can be here. I mean, do what you want, but, you know, they got 10 feet. Is it? Thanks, yeah, this is.
Still,
Over here. Okay.
Okay, so.
I don't see any issues with.
Does it match the photos?
Yeah, okay.
Where are the photos? You guys have them?
Yeah, apparently we only got like 1 or 2 of each one, so I'm just trying to take a quick scan before I pass it around.
So we're approving the distance from the street.
Yeah, we're just looking out to make sure that
Yeah,
there's
because
nothing
then
that
we
make
have
a
that
choke point so
fence
people
is
can
not
walk.
like a big structure anymore.
This may be the only thing, but it's good, like the treatment is not directly in front of the.
Yeah.
This looks fine.
They reduced the size, it sounds, from what was there last year.
Yeah, so I'm okay with this one. I'll pass this.
And there's less pedestrians in front of El Patron, like that side.
Yeah, I think that's
What
nice.
do you mean reduce the size? You mean that they gave more space for
They
the
made us-
pedestrians to
Yeah,
walk?
yeah.
Yeah, it was bigger before.
Because they used to have a built wooden structure that kind of like.
That had a door.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I don't understand, why is it saying the cupcake lady?
Because that's the legal name,
Okay.
but they don't use that name in their marketing to customers. So it's just, it's also under, it's in the assumed name section. You see it?
Taqueria, Patron, Mexican grill, cupcakes.
okay, so we approve that.
Figure out what sells.
I'll let it pass around fully. I think Val still got it.
I know, this is
But yeah, I
Brenda.
think we're
Brenda comes
set.
Brenda's cool.
She's
She's
not
not
really flower. So, but she doesn't have any photos on her application.
Or maybe it's mixed somewhere down there.
No,
I don't see any
it's-
Wait, this is for Anarchy? Oh, she forgot. Oh, so that's why you couldn't see that.
Yeah. It's not an error, it's not a
Not the
glitch.
same thing.
She did not uploaded it.
Cupcake lady. I don't wanna call it cupcake lady, I'm sorry.
It's okay,
Cupcakes by
we
Brenda.
know more or less what it looks like.
Yeah, so y'all
Yeah.
Okay. And this one is on,
Do you have any like?
Wait, we ready to do it after you
next,
No, but this is all for
next
Brenda.
door, right?
yeah,
It's
this is
across the
next
street,
door.
it's across the street.
Next door.
Yeah, and
That's
okay,
51,
that's this one
52.
here.
Okay.
So they don't have this structure. I
Yeah, this is
think they took this down,
Isaiah.
it's just open now.
I think
Yeah, I
it's
think
just
it is
seating,
open.
Yeah, it's just seating.
but the umbrellas are still there.
Yeah. So this.
So it's in the back.
I mean, it's fine. I feel like there's no issue walking past it.
Yeah. My only issue, and this is so minor, is that the umbrellas and the streamers are so
Oh
low,
yeah, I'm familiar with this one.
and I hit my head.
This is in it, so tall.
I think that's a you
I
problem.
think, no,
It's
no,
all
the,
people
the
problems.
Americans with Disabilities Act requires like 6'8" clearance at all times.
So you wanna disapprove because of that?
No, I think it's a fun institution, and I like to see blood work there.
Yeah.
And the food is good.
The food is good.
And the trees.
Okay.
That's
They
right.
get my
Yeah.
list.
So is anyone making a motion for?
We can do it all, I mean, we can do them all at once.
Are we doing them all at once? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Trove,
Trove's pictures look blank, but I,
They don't have anything
It's
yet.
brand new.
but
Trove,
when the
Trove
other,
has not ever done
they didn't
sidewalks.
put
When the
pictures
other
up
owner
there.
Yeah, they
was
also
there-
got here, right?
Well, yes, as Trove, no, it was this year I think it opened. It used to be a different restaurant.
Yeah, it
So
used to
if it's gonna be
like
like
blue,
blue,
Yeah.
that wasn't, that was a fun.
corner
But they
pizza.
had,
Yeah.
I thought they had bistro seating. I thought they had like little tables and chairs outside.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Blue had,
yeah, you're
Blue
right.
had outdoor tables
You're
with
right,
the same
right.
spots that they're
You
proposing.
representing Blue?
No, I used to work at Brick's House though, so.
Yes. And they
Oh,
opened,
right. That's
same
like
one as
Trove,
Trove, right?
yeah.
Yeah, now they,
Oh.
same owners.
Yeah.
That's where I got my ice cream from when I came.
This is fine.
Yeah, yeah, I think we're
Make
good
sure
on
y'all
this.
don't
We
get
got
rid of
this
that mango
one.
lassi
Oh, yes.
flavor.
Okay, so we're the next
Yeah,
one?
right now
No,
we're
no,
looking
They're
at
proposing it.
Trove.
They
Yes,
had
Trove.
it there before, not this restaurant, but the previous owner, it was fine.
That's Trove?
It's just like
Yeah,
bistro style,
Yeah,
small tables.
like some folding chairs and tables, it was
What's the
fine.
color of it?
Plenty of space to
I
walk.
like
Sterling and what, Rogers?
That's on Rogers.
It's on Rogers.
Yeah, right on the corner.
On Sterling, that was one of their.
It's like on the corner
Images.
right there.
Yeah,
Well, I think they want
it's
to
on
around-
It's on that side.
Yeah,
Okay.
Oh, really? It's a little lot
Sterling,
of
on Sterling and Rogers.
Okay, that's in the
yeah,
back.
it's gonna wrap around like a L shape.
I would say I'm familiar with all of these. I am totally fine with all of them. They're all great businesses in the neighborhood too. I would happily do it if we could do a blanket approval for all three.
We can, we're
Yeah.
just trying to, so I assume they're gonna be more good than bad, so if we see an issue, we can point that out as opposed to like approve them one by one.
Yeah,
Cause,
check out Trove,
we
they have a
spent-
great selection of wines and
Yeah,
flat.
Some sort of bar, you know,
I went there, it was
Every
really good.
restaurant.
So my question is
Well,
for
we
this
support local
particular
business.
establishment,
Yeah, though.
Which one?
Trove, are they building something here or this is just showing you where it's going to be, but we don't know what it's actually gonna look like?
They don't have that diagram inside?
I thought that was it, right there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
It's just chairs and tables.
Just
No,
chairs.
that's the photo.
It's not a
Because
shed.
it's not in the photo, it's just.
Yeah,
Well, that's
so
kinda how
they
it
haven't
should
built it
work.
before.
They should give us
That's,
what they wanna do
yeah.
before
I think-
they.
I think this is a good example, after I was just saying, I think this is a good example of what a new application looks like by a business that hasn't had one in the COVID era. All the other ones that we reviewed had a picture of what they had before because they had them before they had to apply. This one's brand new, they have built nothing because they haven't done it yet.
So
Hasn't-
they're gonna just have
It's not a
table
build.
and chairs
So
though,
they just-
so it's not a build, it's just table and
Build,
chairs,
it's
right?
table and chairs.
Right, well, I'm just, they haven't put anything out there.
Right.
So it's gonna look blank. This is just them showing where it's gonna go.
Yep.
And like what it looks like. Is there a tree bed anywhere?
Okay.
Like that kind of stuff.
So
It
should,
seems so far like all they have to show for it is the diagram, which I think
Yep.
should be enough at least to
Um,
judge
Not the
it.
width of the table and chairs and the
Right,
space that's gonna
right.
be used, I guess
Since
that's
you
right
want
here.
that
Yeah, they
point.
have all that.
Okay. So it's just
You
gonna be
gotta
little
take
squares, right? Or rectangular tables and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, the only issue over there was that the tree had some broken branches
Oh,
by
okay,
there, but I trimmed it.
okay,
It's
they
fine.
trimmed it?
You
Okay.
trimmed
Yeah, I trimmed it.
You did? Oh, you're so lovely.
Such a great
I
neighbor.
have a tree on my block that needs
Well,
to
no,
go.
no,
like this
And
is,
she'll give you
I
some
don't know,
jewelry.
but that's
With bars.
this one actually shows, yes, this actually shows the distance.
And that's because they had it before. They might not even build this again. I think they took this down already.
Oh, they did?
Right? Yeah. Because this is a new application, but they've had this stuff up before. 'Cause, you know,
Right, but it shows the distance clearly.
So, based
we
on what
don't
you're
know.
saying, I don't wanna cut you off, cause your point is very valid. Should they have showed us the
Yeah,
blank
right.
slate
That's the blank slate.
for this?
They did. In the diagram. They can't build something like this if they're not approved to build it.
But I thought you said they took it down. No?
These folks probably did, yeah, they did pare this down, right?
I don't know which one you're talking
Did
about.
Al
Oh,
show-
down
did Al put
yeah,
some
it's
downside?
not, there's
Yeah, I
no
don't
structure
think
there,
that's
no
there.
structure.
That was like
Right.
for winterizing. That was
Right.
like keep it warm in the winter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
Right,
good.
so I'm saying like,
Alright,
so I'm saying we've been taking some like, some,
okay, cool,
some
cool,
sort of.
cool, alright.
So you got it? Alright.
It's good. I second the motion to approve it.
Oh.
Can we, well, look, there's nothing there, then they're gonna put something there, and then we don't know the distance from where they're gonna place it. I mean,
Well, they're gonna follow the plans.
The diagrams are there for that reason.
This is kinda like how it was with the old business before, so it's not gonna be like anything that's too wide. Are you
Okay.
talking about, this is for the
Tables
Trove
and stuff.
space.
Right.
Right, but I'm saying like any business that's
Thank you,
brand.
that's that one.
That's
Right.
just
That's
what,
in this space, yeah.
right, that's what I was talking about.
I was
Right.
trying to find like a,
But
That's
they
what I-
haven't put it back up yet.
Right, but she just demonstrated how it looked
Well,
before.
if we-
But I
I'm
don't
saying
think it's a
any
good.
new business can't do that though. Any new business can't do that because they wouldn't have put any chairs out to be able to take a photo of them because they're asking for us to
If
be
they
able
can.
to do that,
Okay.
you know? So I'm saying like as we go into businesses that are new, they're gonna have blank photos. They're gonna have diagrams that show the space, but they're gonna have blank pictures because there's nothing out there for them, you know?
But this is a good diagram.
Yeah, that's,
And
yeah.
Trove is, let me see, what's the diagram?
No, look, you see? Oh yeah, Troll's diagrams are here.
Okay, it's the same.
That's the city.
That's-
This is the
that's
city.
from the city,
This
This is the
That's what they
plan.
have to
This is
abide
the
by.
plan here,
This is the
and
plan.
this is for these people.
So they're saying they're gonna keep a maximum like 120 feet or 120
Oh, here it
inches
is.
for like the tree pit or whatever.
Yeah, right here. And this is different.
96 inches, 7 feet from the tree pit, 120 inches, 10 feet from the curb line.
Yeah, you can take it.
Okay. Oh, so
We
question.
don't have enough, so I'm not
They're
sure if
all
we'll get
different ones,
the
you
one
gotta check.
that you need.
Okay, which one do you
They're
care
split
about?
between us.
This one you like.
Oh,
only have one
that's good,
back.
okay, I think,
You can have
I
that.
think
Have it later.
Ellen did tell me that they're on the monitor. Felice, you could lead the rest of it while I figure that out.
Okay.
But I mean, I would rather somebody come to us with a plan that says, hey, I did this 2 years ago, can I get approval for it now? Like, it seems like this is how it should work.
Right, cool, I agree.
Okay.
I totally agree with you. That's what I was asking, you know,
I'm
this
so
is,
sorry.
for
Sorry.
example, Caressa, she's a lot of, and that was great. This is what I'm used to on this one. I've got to get going.
No,
So you
no, no.
won't hit your head, man. Or hit your-
So it's,
It is always
it's
a
here,
pleasure to
it's
see
here,
you,
it
Mr.
exists
Herbert.
with no change, they're just getting our approval to have it.
Are
So
there
that
any
was good.
issues with it? You
I
seconded
don't
it?
have any-
Who first did it?
I was happy to make a motion. I feel like we, there's no reason to spend any time on it.
Alright, so, night, everybody.
Have a good
Good night,
night.
good to see you again, thank you for
Great.
coming.
Final meeting for the year.
Yay!
The youth.
Alright, so that's approved, those three things are approved.
The two
Yeah.
younger people.
So it's a consensus, we're approving
Was it
this?
for this?
Yeah, they
The
were.
guy who is
Yeah, he
well, he
used to
works
work
for the
there.
ice cream shop.
He used to.
But he was here for this.
I don't know why he was here, but
Okay.
I don't care, he's gone. Let's keep going.
Alright.
If you wanna say
Okay,
something, you
there.
can, like,
We're
He's in the bathroom.
rolling through the agenda, wonderfully.
no,
Yeah.
like, the other
Alright, so did we forget on?
Two cancel.
we
So
vote?
we,
I made a motion to approve all three,
Right.
close to second. Does anyone oppose?
No, it
Seems
seems
like
like we
common
do
consent.
that.
Let's move on.
Alright, so yeah, we
Or
can
is there
report that as
anything else?
common consent, that's good.
okay.
The other items on the agenda are being tabled or moved because DOT didn't show up today, neither did Lancaster youth folks, so.
Do we need to make a
Early
motion,
evening.
to actively, scold
Censure
Lancaster
them?
or something? Yeah, to say
Well,
like,
I would do that, but I don't even know if the board office actually reaches out to them. Because sometimes, you know, when the office reaches out, they don't always copy me on these.
right,
And even if they do, it's blind, so I don't know,
so
you
for,
know, the response or situation was. So you can scold them, but I can't give you 100% certainty that they were reached out to.
okay, but then for if Sapo inquires or something for our own safety,
Is
should we make a motion to say we disapprove considering the lack of information?
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Okay, I'm happy to make a motion to disapprove of the vague non-presentation.
And also the wrong dates. They brought the wrong dates to us. It was like 2024.
Right, I don't know what the
Yeah.
residents of Sterling were even looking at, but,
Right, no, they were looking at it at the right dates. They,
But then this doesn't really have anybody's name on it,
Yeah.
who
Yeah,
presented it, we're not sure.
Okay,
For
so-
me, you know, I'm not sure
I had to, yeah, I didn't
what the
even
source
know.
of this information is.
to disapprove of whatever Lancaster Youth is trying to do because of the lack of information.
Yeah, there was a lack of specificity in the presentation. It seemed like a lack of a plan as well. Like we support the idea. I don't want to support anything officially, but we do support the idea behind it.
Yeah.
Like I would like someone to take good care of that plaza and clean it
Yeah.
and make it a bit of an economic driver.
I honestly don't remember them mentioning food at all last time. He said vendors.
He didn't mention food.
Yeah.
Did not.
Yeah.
Didn't
So like, I mean,
Did
I think
not.
the residents' concerns are legit if there's food there,
Yeah.
but from the couple times I've passed by, it was like jewelry and trinkets, like, you know.
Okay, that's good then.
So like, that's, I think their concerns are valid, but I don't know if their concerns are matching what the small business pop-up was gonna be, but still, the
Right.
guy didn't present anything, so let's
Right.
disapprove of it and try it again next year for him.
Interesting. Because I recall a lot of it was about, you know, like rats and that sort of thing, and food waste being a problem. And I recall, like, I think that might have been part of it, the fact that a lot of the focus on the presentation was around, like, cleaning and preventing rats and stuff like that, because the burrows were already there, which would make people think, you know, food. But if it's not food related, that decreases the risk of, you know.
I mean, the rats come anywhere, doesn't matter how clean
Yeah.
you keep it, and it's across the street from 5 fast food restaurants.
Right.
Like, I don't blame the Lancaster Youth for rats being there, considering Lancaster Youth isn't even there right now. You have a supermarket and 5 fast food restaurants, there's gonna be rats,
Right.
so.
But my concern is that whatever's there, that is authorized by whatever agencies, they have whatever permits and license and whatever it is for them to do whatever it is on that particular piece of land, because I don't know if you could just bring your little stuff and put it on the corner and keep it moving. Like, I have an issue with the thing that's on the corner by the the bank and the post office, the fruit stand there. I've been looking for the license and I still can't see it where they got the, but they say they have a license.
Yeah,
But I'm
do.
noticing a lot of these first food stands just like kind of popping up. Who regulates it? Who comes and
I
checks?
think
But
health department checks the fruit stands.
But this particular event, if they're selling food, if something happens, who's responsible, what type of licensure you're supposed to have? Because even, like she said, with the block party, we have to have signatures from the residents in the community for this to
We're closing
happen.
streets, though.
So I don't know if
If
it's
you're not
just,
closing a street, there's less reason to get signatures.
But
okay, that's
this is a
fine.
health issue, right?
Right.
It's a potential health issue. So that right away is a reason to decline or retract your approval because of a health reason. If there are rats there and there is no line items as far as what the vendors are going to be there, and if we feel that there may be an introduction of food, that's a reason to say we retract the approval.
Fair enough. I think I
Sure,
support that.
I don't remember him saying food at all.
Me neither.
So.
I thought I heard it, cause I tuned in, and that's when I texted.
Right.
It's not that he didn't say it, it's what you said. He didn't specify what's gonna be there.
Right.
So you don't know what you're approving, basically.
Exactly.
Right? And you don't record out there
Yeah.
on it, you don't know.
Yeah,
So
okay,
he
but
has to
still,
provide a
make
plan,
motion to
be with
disapprove because of-
logistics,
Right.
what's going to happen, what's going to be there, how's he gonna manage the people that are there, all the vendors, there's a whole series of logistics that have to go. He did not approve, he did not provide any of that. And you don't want to give an approval when you have a dozen line items that are missing.
And then we have that
End of
extra
story.
driveway right there that's coming out of Western Beef, correct?
Well, the driveway's not really the issue, the issue is a health issue.
Right.
Okay, if we don't know if there's gonna be potential for food because he did not give a specified plan of
Correct.
what's going to be introduced at this triangle.
Right.
Music, you don't know. Food, you don't know.
Okay, so
I can keep going on and on and on.
Motion to
No, good point,
disapprove
Rob.
because of lack of specificity.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so.
That was the main issue. Like, we're not against the idea, we're against the fact that there's no plan provided.
Anyone want a second?
I second it.
Anyone approve, or just anyone have comments or?
Actually, I want somebody else second it.
I can second it.
Or
It did sound nice,
Yeah.
but you
It
know,
wasn't a full
when you so.
presentation, it was just he
Yeah,
talking about it.
we're using the word.
No, but what they
presentation,
came up
so-
with were excellent concerns.
Yeah.
You know what,
They did.
as you're
They have to
looking
look
back,
at it, right.
Yep,
as
yeah.
you're looking back, it would have been nice they were here when he came initially, but you know.
Yeah,
that didn't
right.
happen.
And I'm saying, like, I also get their concern about communication, right? Like, I'm trying to grow the WhatsApp channel so we have a quicker line of
Mhm.
communication between board members and public. Because if we can say, like, you know, like, on command, like, there's a thing happening, that'll be great, as opposed to having to wait for somebody else to maybe announce it.
Mhm.
You know, so there's that. It's a problem we're trying to solve now. But yeah, so it'll be good to let people know in advance. Hey, there's a presentation next week on this thing. To your area, you should go. But
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, so it's common consent?
yeah, common consent sounds like
Great.
law position.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Don.
So I guess that means DOT might come back in September. And it looks
How did DOT get on the agenda? I'm curious.
No, well,
How-
the board office gave me a notice of them asking for approval to present for the June meeting. I said yes.
So DOT asked the board, and the board told you.
The office, yeah. And
Right.
they usually relay it to me and say, hey, DOT asked to present for the June meeting, and
Right.
ask if I approve or not. I said yeah, and that was it.
And that was it.
Usually, that means they show up here,
Yeah.
but today didn't happen. I think it's
But
because
there's no word from them.
maybe someone didn't forward that approval notice back to DOT.
And they didn't even specify what they was going to discuss.
They said Brooklyn and Kingston, that's all. But what I recall Dante sending an email on my behalf, asking them to clarify what they mean by liquid invested. Like, do they mean like sidewalk treatments, do they mean like, you know, lane changes, do they mean the bike lane situation?
I assume it was an update.
I assume that too,
Yeah.
but, so I, from what I understand, Dante was going back and forth talking about that at least once or twice. But DOT seems to not have been aware that they could present here today. Happens sometimes.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll be back when they're able to. So that's generally, the agenda's exhausted unless we have a new item
Did we
coming up
approve the
today.
May minutes?
Ah, we didn't do that, thank you.
This printout is missing half of the.
I have,
Half of the
yeah, I
minutes?
actually read the minutes, and I think that we need to fill in the insert group name here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then also on the main minutes, it says like, you approve this dining out application as the motion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can
it
make
does.
those
It does.
But I think that we should be very careful about what that language says, because I do think we approved something last month for
We-
this
yeah,
very,
it says we
for this
did.
very group of people that we are now disapproving publicly.
No, we approved it, but we didn't move it to full board.
Right,
Yeah, as
And
long as you
and
can
part
move
of
it to
that
the
was,
board,
and part
But
of
it's not
that
in
was,
our minutes that we approved.
it's okay, and that's fine.
yeah, like, we can approve something,
We
like, we
did
can,
it, it was then specified.
But it's
committee approved it.
The committee
Right?
approved it.
But then
because the
it's
guy
also,
didn't say-
it's
we
also
said we
on,
like
the
love your ideas.
it's also on me to, you know, get it on the agenda for full board, and I didn't do that,
Okay.
specifically when I learned that we had the wrong dates on hand.
Oh.
So I made sure it didn't continue, and there's part of that.
And then because this is those are my comments.
Wait, so you said the name had to be corrected, and what was the other?
So at the bottom of that paragraph, I'm going off memory, so that might not be right. This is like,
It was open.
in support of this dining out application.
Oh, in support of.
So that should be changed to, we conditionally give our support to move the SAPO permit forward or something. I don't know exactly what we said.
Oh, I see, they would've came to address the Washington Avenue
Yeah.
issue.
So pending that, those changes, I am happy
That was
with
different,
minutes.
that was, we also want to talk about that too.
Can we do like a little, this is our summer recess, can we do a little recap of what
And the marathon.
Yeah, we can do a little recap of the.
status check-in of all the open items?
Of the open items, well, lucky we have a little table about it. Huh? No, I got a little table. So.
same thing.
Huh? Yeah. I mean, for Washington Avenue, so, I mean, as you guys are seeing here the minutes, right? Can we, before we approve it, we'll just need to get a little rundown of the changes.
Yeah,
So
I
we-
can tell you right now if you want. One, I just didn't have Lancaster Youth pop up in there, so I just added that.
Yeah.
And Andrew just noted on that, we had approved it as a dining out application. I probably just copy and pasted from elsewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm tweaking it. Makes motion for CB9 to conditionally to support pending more details and follow-up presentation, which is why you flagged it and didn't move it forward.
Right, okay, makes sense. That sounds accurate.
So I have a concern with the minutes, the way they're
That's
written,
just grammar.
Yeah.
right? You know, with the Empire Boulevard, Kingston Avenue, Brooklyn Avenue, that bike loop,
Yeah.
right? There are other items that should be listed in it that I have concerns that were not listed, right? I just don't have a problem with the potential misappropriation of funds. It's the not following of the criteria that was set up, alright? Right, that it's not part of the Safe Streets, Safe Schools program, that whole loop, I brought that up, right?
Right. Is there just like a summary of it though, to put in?
Not really.
You can list the issues.
You can just list them, you can just bullet
Like,
item,
not part of, you know.
yeah, you can just bullet item them, right? And
Okay,
also,
so, sorry, say again, I'll do a bullet point.
okay, sure, so it's my concern is that the criteria is not being followed with regards to the Vision Zero program. All right, that Wingate High School is not part of the Safe Routes to School program, it's not listed in that priority. And also that the plan includes a delisted street and a street that is not listed as a priority. Right, and also, one other thing, there's a concern with the equitable distribution of street projects. All that was mentioned last time, which I did not see in the minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Pleasure doing business.
Hmm?
It's a pleasure doing business with you.
Oh, I'm still here to the end.
Number two, my last name, one M.
I'm here to the end.
Love to see that.
Which one? Item B.
V,
But let's just,
two,
Yeah, better.
last name, one M.
Alright, after we approve the minutes, I'll do a recap of issues that are currently still open or closed that we're gonna be, continuing. Just so that we know what's going on.
Okay.
Well, after we vote on the minutes. So yeah, let me know when you're done, Paco. And
Thank you, Secretary.
That's all done.
We appreciate
You guys in done or you guys in? You let me know.
Yeah, no, I just put his notes in there.
Okay.
We appreciate you.
Still on the floor for approval. Do we have any other objections to the approval or any changes to the minutes?
Nope.
Okay, so, we have a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion to approve it
Of course.
Yeah.
with the additions and the edits. and
I second it.
Alright. Yeah, you're good, you can second that. Okay. Yep. Any opposed to it? Sounds like common consent to me, so minutes are approved. Good. Alright, recap. So, a few of our big issues. No, it's okay, I have them here. It's not just last month's recap, it's the recap of running issues. So, Washington Avenue safety improvements. There's been a long push to get, some crosswalks and some sidewalk improvements to Washington Avenue around where the Botanic Garden is. That is now in progress. The committee needs to create a plan for DOT to potentially go build. What happened before that was we had planned to have Botanic Garden, the museum and other stakeholders in the area, write letters to DOT in connection with us to spur them to get some actions done on in that area. What ended up happening was the Botanic Garden sent out their letter first. I'm not sure if we knew when they were gonna do it. My intention was for us to do it around the same time, or at least have the committee lead that one. Botanic Garden sort of went first and did it, and they got the meeting with DOT about Washington Avenue. My intention was, for the committee and the garden and perhaps the museum to be in that together, but the Botanic Garden and DOT had the meeting. We weren't in that meeting. The Botanic Garden was informed, from what I understand, that there is an ongoing project plan for Washington Avenue, the one that's currently being considered by the Department of Design and Construction. And at this point now, it falls back on us to either make a plan that is.
Wait, did you say from DDC?
Yeah.
Not DOT.
Well, DOT makes the plan, DDC sort of
They
builds.
yeah.
So it's
It's in
sort of,
construction.
it's a bit of a handoff, right? So it isn't in construction yet, but DDC is looking at it, if not planning it. So at this, so.
What's the
What's the
scope
plan?
of that work?
Huh?
What's the scope of DVC's plan?
I think you saw it already. It's the same project that's been delayed for like 10 years.
Is it the class and?
I think so. It's concluded as part of that,
No.
and since it's an existing project, it would be in our interest to make a plan that comes from the board, from the community, and essentially have DOT build a version of our plan instead.
So like we
Well,
would.
wait a second, what exactly are they building?
If I
They're supposed to be closing the street, right?
So the plan,
No.
the plan is not.
The Clausen Avenue, that slit, wasn't that the plan that they were supposed to
Little
close?
turning radius.
That little slit, they was, like, say when
I
you're
thought
coming
they were
up
just-
Washington.
Yeah, I thought
where
they were
to go to
changing the
Clausen.
geometry of it. I don't remember them.
So they're supposed to close an area of Clausen Avenue, put a street light up, make a turn onto Clausen in front of Prospect Heights or Clyde Barton, I forgot
Right.
which one it was.
Yeah.
And continue, so there's gonna be a certain section that's gonna be closed off to
Okay.
vehicle
Traffic.
traffic.
Right.
Alright, relocate a stoplight, and.
But you could still go up
Which-
Classic,
but they-
right?
they
You
were-
just have to.
You have to catch it.
You don't do the slip lane, right? You go up Washington.
So in
take
other
a
words,
right,
you're going
go
up
left.
President, right? So it's President Clausen and Washington. Before you come west on President, and you can go north on Clausen, right? That turn is gonna be eliminated, proposed on the project. You're gonna have to go to Washington, then go north. Then if you wanna pick up Clausen, you have to go right and then go up.
And it's so
Well, wait a
crazy
second,
because
so
there's
where
a
the
bus
buses
that
is
goes
gonna-
through there,
where-
the school
I-
buses.
I know
We
that.
brought all of that up
That's
10 years ago.
I don't know what's
We
gonna
went through this plan with
Remember
them
that?
100 times.
Right. So, but did we ever like make a plan of our own and submit it to them?
No, we definitely
No,
didn't,
we
but I
didn't make a
remember
plan
that.
and submit it to them, but they did come and they did talk about that proposal, and we objected to that because, number one, the MTA bus, school buses, that take that.
Biogens.
Yeah, we didn't wanna see it closed.
They use that little slip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I
So-
thought you make that turn.
No, they can
talking
go
about-
Washington and
they
just
want
veer
turn
over
up
to
here.
Clausen.
Here, like, so you come in, so you come in.
I assume they're referring to
See how it
this.
goes? See that
Exactly.
little piece right there?
Oh,
They
yeah.
have
It'll
a
do
bus and
this
everything
turn,
to
because
turn
now
right there.
Because the only thing that's gonna create is a backup traffic on
They
Washington
want
Avenue.
to turn.
And it's already
I
backed
thought
up,
that they were gonna close that.
and it's already backed
Not
up.
that,
If I can
this
get-
part, they're gonna close coming up, see, coming up
If I can
from
get the remote for
Popeyes,
this
you can go
TV,
Washington
Yeah,
and
they were gonna go through this.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah, so you make, you go up Washington, make a right to the left.
For what?
That's,
But
that's
then,
next.
like,
Well, I
what's
know,
the-
I know there was someone was killed in front of the school. I think that was part of the impetus for it.
No, that was a speeding car that went up Clausen, turned over, and somebody got killed in there. That was a big thing.
In the car or
In the
a
car.
pedestrian?
No, there was a cyclist killed there.
I didn't see a
Did-
cyclist, cause I saw the whole
I
accident.
met his sister,
Can
there
you
was
get
definitely a
into
cyclist.
If I-
With the drugs.
Gary?
Uh,
I think I remember.
Jelani
Just
Irving,
do
a
it.
22-year-old kid,
Oh,
who
yeah.
was killed.
Yeah, it must be two separate incidents.
Killed where?
Oh, that was
Killed
10
where?
years since that?
Oh, so I couldn't log in.
In
either.
2014.
Killed where?
I don't know, it's past
At
2000.
Clausen and Washington.
So I'm not sure if there are any other things that can be put there. I don't know, I
You want
don't
to
know, say
mirror.
speed,
I don't know how to do that.
the ripples and different things like that, because, you know, when you're going up the
And you're
street,
absolutely right
you
with
slow
that.
down,
But not close it off, you have to let it
you know,
down.
some ripples, right, when you get by the school, so that you are
So,
forced
step
to
back
slow
into it.
down.
So I was saying, it seems like there's a lot of like opposition to the plan, but not much of a. Yes, no. Thanks. Yeah, there's a lot of opposition to the plan, but not much planning coming from the board at least. And from what we've seen over the past while, it looks like DOT, tends to respond well when they get a plan from us. So I think the best move now is for us to make a plan for Washington Avenue. It could be small, that might be better for us, and just outline what the community actually wants, and what the board approves to have them do. Because from what I understand, I haven't seen the plan they're talking about. I've seen the extent of it, like where it affects. I've seen the budget, but I haven't seen the actual plan itself. So I can't speak to that.
Sorry.
It's okay, it happens to all of us. It had happened at work once.
Okay, so,
So the one thing we told them when they came was that we do not want this closed. They could close this always poses a risk.
Right.
Or a
So-
ripple effect.
If they close this, cars will not come this way and cars will not go over this way.
Right.
And we can
Cars can't go
prevent
left.
accidents that way. But this is vital for this community because otherwise this is gonna be backed up all the way to Pine Boulevard if they close this.
Right. So I think it would be good to get that into plans so we could essentially show them what we'd like to see instead. So I think that would be the best next move there. So with regards
But you know, Hector, they use that slip there, during the West Indian Parade as an emergency spot. where it's
No, because
open.
most of the police vehicles during that time are all located
Yes.
here.
And in that.
And they're
that
located
slip.
here. And they're located all over Washington, all the way to the dead end street down here. So they don't necessarily they don't use this at all.
and it's only like maybe 1.5 cars or so can fit
Right.
through there, so it's not like, if they close that to left turn traffic, left hand turn traffic, then it would be like a great loss.
It's not gonna be a great law at all, I agree. And my biggest concern is just the traffic that constantly comes from a president and
Yes.
crosses over here.
But they shouldn't
Many
be able
people
to
almost
cross
got
over there
hit.
because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
supposed to be
It's
right.
It's
People
supposed to
supposed
make
to
a
go
right
together,
turn
right,
here,
yeah.
and
Supposed
not
to be
go
right,
across.
they're not supposed to cross
Right.
over. I think that's, but I guess they might still do, but if they put something up there, camera, whatever, to
Right,
let them know that you cannot, do not enter
Oh, there's a
sign.
big sign there that says do not enter, but they still do it.
But that's throughout the whole city, so.
Right, so these are all good discussions that would be better suited for the actual planning meeting that might be in September, we'll see.
Okay, so we'll put that down for September, okay,
Yeah.
so next.
Next thing is the Brooklyn Kingston School Safety Plan.
Well, but, sorry, do we need to kick it to September? Why not, if we all agree we should close that section, why not do that now?
Well, I would like it to be part of a bigger actual plan, not just one ask, because they might or might not do it.
Well, we had our own asks.
Yeah, we had asks for crosswalks at like.
Crosswalks, speed limiters,
Yeah.
cameras, we
I
had.
think we also actually made,
Well, why can't we
That-
just have a speed bump right there, opposed to closing that,
there's a bus.
Where would
Buses
this,
run
where would
there.
this be
no, I
broke
mean,
out?
in that area that, was asked to be closed off.
You can't put a speed bump there.
It's too small.
It's too narrow. There's no
It'll take
way you
another
can put a
10
speed
years
bump
just
there.
for-
There's a specific design criteria for
Right.
speed humps or bumps, whatever.
Trust me,
won't-
that is
that
gonna,
won't
that's
make
gonna
it,
save
'cause you
a
don't-
whole
you don't have
lot
the
of
amount of
headache
traffic.
right in that spot right there.
Alright, so I mean, yeah, we can add that to our, I mean, so we already have a plan resolution, a plan resolution made
Right.
for Washington Avenue,
Right, so what,
We already did that.
right, so what do we have?
We can add this to it,
We,
close it
right,
with
it's
the
a great
slip
idea,
and
I'd say I'm
Washington
happy to
Avenue.
add it, but like, if we've already made a plan, where's our plan stand?
Right, so it's currently in writing, it's not, essentially, it's not diagrammatic, it's not like written visual yet. We can make it visual, but the plan's there. Now, before we were more sort of seeking, talk with the DOT to understand what they could do, so that when we make a plan, it wouldn't get denied. But I think we do know what they could do, so if anything, we can sort of adjust our plans, or at least make them visual in a way that DOT can build them.
So how long do you think that's gonna take? Because it's been 10 years since we talked about this, there should be something in
Yeah.
writing already
It-
from 10 years.
It just
that
seems
we
weird to
talked
me
about.
if we already put a plan out there, like, it shouldn't take, just, we're on break, DOT's not, they're still paid through the summer, like,
Yeah.
like, they should just do, we've already asked, they don't need a diagram from us explaining it. They're professionals, they,
Yeah, I mean, based on
I
how-
trust that they are experts more than we are, they can point out if there's problems, we point out when they are making a mistake, but we've already made the ask, I don't see why we need to,
And if
wait
we've
till
already
September just to
submitted
do a
it to
diagram
them,
of the
can we
things we've already
follow
asked
up to
for.
find out where they stand or what the holdup is to what we've already submitted?
Yeah, so the next feasible step to that would be getting some sort of engagement with DOT and, maybe the committee or board of some sort about that plan that we had essentially made, right? The plan was to do that in one meeting. The plan was to.
Right, but they just went BBG
They just went BBG.
separately.
Right, so now we're, now the next step is the same, to get DOT in a room, or virtually if possible, and essentially present the resolution and the plan and get,
So have you
see
looked
how
at the
feasible
plan?
it is. Which plan? The one that EDC is currently working on?
Our plan that we submitted 10
Yeah, I
years
helped,
ago. You
10
weren't
years
here,
ago?
because how long we've been talking about the same thing?
Yeah, that thing, but it was
It's
about
been
10 years ago,
It's
probably.
been a minute, it's been more than 5 years, it's been prior to the pandemic though, it's been prior to the pandemic.
Like, if the issue is that we just need BBG, the museum, us, and DOT in a room, I feel like that's what Crystal Hudson's office should do, or like, that's what an elected official should be in charge, or CB should be in charge of
Yeah.
gathering everyone.
So,
Like,
I mean, that would be, so that's what we're working on now. The next step would be to sort of get that happening with the plan as the subject, and since it's already made, we can sort of get that kicked into the building phase.
You say, and we're working on it now, who's the we?
Like me, board office, anybody else who wants to help with that,
Okay, because,
Welcome to-
my thing is that if it's already, we already started something, It's already there. When was the last time that we follow up to say, hey, we submitted this plan to you,
Yeah.
what's the response? Because, you know,
What's the resolution?
you know, we are,
I mean, the most recent response was about a couple weeks ago, so it's pretty recent.
okay, and they said what?
Yeah, that's when BBG reached out to us and they said that they had the meeting with DOT and they were told that there is a plan currently on the table.
And what's that plan? We have a copy of that plan?
I do not.
Oh, can we get a copy?
I don't think BBG got a copy either.
But I didn't, that wasn't my question. I said, can we get a copy since BBG said that there's a plan on the table?
From what I understand, no.
That we can't?
I don't know if, I have not seen the plan yet. I'm not sure how close it is to being built or how visual it is, so I don't even know what's out there.
Can we ask DDC to come present to us in September and ask them
From what I've
today?
heard, DUC doesn't do that.
They
It was
have
10 years
reps,
ago.
they have
10
reps
years
that
ago?
come out.
They-
Good,
I
okay.
remember they came, and
So
When
I
they
mean,
did major
you
work,
can ask.
yeah.
I'm just telling you what I've
And then
been hearing.
can we
from
also
the
say,
code
like,
office and that kind of thing.
Hey, I know that you're gonna do this work here, we also have requests adjacent to where you are planning to work anyway.
Yeah.
Please see the requests.
They can do any of these plans without coming through the board.
I hope so.
they
Yeah,
can, they shouldn't.
I
Like, we're
hope
just
they
advisory,
do.
but they should.
But I agree that we should do something, put something on the calendar today, because DDC, it doesn't move super slow. Like, as soon as a project gets funding, they will usually start.
Okay. Sure.
It's more of like whether they sit in a holding pattern for funding.
Alright. So most of the communications may have to go through the board office. So we'll get that rolling ASAP.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the next one?
Next one is Brooklyn Kingston. That school safety plan. DOT was supposed to present on that today. Well, I can't say that with full certainty. This was written on Brooklyn Kingston. I don't know if it was the school safety plan or not, but they were supposed to present today on something related to Brooklyn and Kingston Avenue in that area of the district.
So that's just okay.
Could they share the presentation that they couldn't provide in person? Like, could they just email it to us?
I would love that.
No way would they do that.
I know.
I assume they would not.
We say, hey, we're gonna be off in 3 months. What's the harm?
Right,
Well, they'll probably just install something without us, but also.
Well, I don't want this to delay another school year beyond when it needs to go by. Like, there's 90 days of just nothing.
Yeah. I can ask.
Okay.
You can ask them.
With a good faith effort to try to communicate with them and get on the same page.
Yes, I
Okay.
can ask.
Okay,
But I can't guarantee it.
okay. What's the next item?
Next item would be the Q train issues regarding NYC runs.
Oh, yeah.
I believe
That deals with the marathon.
I believe that letter has been sent out. If it hasn't, it's because of me. I probably hadn't sent it to the board, but the letter should, if I remember correctly, the letter should have been sent out already. I will double check.
To MTA?
No, to NYC runs, well, and to MTA as well, just to make sure that they are checking with each other.
Were the
So,
electeds too?
huh?
Were the electeds on that?
I didn't specify, but the board, I would assume the board office would have probably added them to it.
So we don't even know if the letter went out, so that's the whole thing right now?
Yeah, I'll update you on that.
Okay,
And that letter, since it was already voted on, it can go out. If it hasn't gone out, it can go out anytime from now on. It's not
Yeah.
being held back by us.
Okay, great.
Does that letter also address the concerns about the starting line, that to move it someplace else because of the repeated national anthem singing and people can't get to their homes and accessory can't drop people off? There's a whole bunch of things. Did that include
Well,
that too? In
The
that letter?
starting line of that race, if I recall correctly, was in Williamsburg. It wasn't in Washington Avenue.
Mhm.
So
No,
we can.
That's a
we're
different
talking-
race.
We're talking specifically
different
about
race?
Washington Avenue.
Oh, you're talking about a different race.
Yeah, I'm talking about Washington Avenue. I don't know if it's
Oh,
a different
Talking
race.
about the New York Roadrunners half and
Yeah, that
Oh,
was the
okay.
half one. Okay. Yeah, that's a different one.
Well, thank you. I didn't know it was just a different.
No, it's true. We do a lot of races.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
got a big
we
park
could-
next to us.
We did outline that too.
Go back
Yes.
to around circles.
Okay.
That's in there.
Okay.
That's speaking of the Q train at Prospect Park. Did we ever follow up about the shuttle bus request from the residents that live on that corner?
The bus idling.
We did. I believe Dante reached out, but I can get a committee piece he's
I'd like, I'd like to know, cause I mean, they were also doing shuttle bus work during the marathon when everything was shut down, that they did it on Saturday and Friday night. There was no change in behavior, let's say that.
Okay.
I didn't see that.
Next item was the Empire and Rogers Avenue pedestrian island. That has not gone out yet. I will send that soon.
Is that a letter, or is that like a?
It's a letter. It's not a resolution. It's a letter. That
Then you added Albany to it, right?
yeah, add Albany to it.
So
That-
in your letter, you're gonna have to include a review of the fire code. Right, because you have the firehouse on Rogers Avenue, and Rogers Avenue is a fire apparatus access route,
Yeah.
as well as Empire Boulevard.
Yeah.
Right, so there's minimum radiuses based on specific fire apparatus that have to be met.
Yeah. Well.
So you're gonna have to put that in there, cause you don't want a junior engineer in the DOT just pick this up and start designing something. And he doesn't know about the International Fire Apparatus Code, roadway design, swept path analysis. I read the whole stuff on this. Alright?
So where is this island supposed to be specifically? Is that supposed to be on the left turn lane that is
No.
designed
No,
on?
it's not in a lane,
No,
it's
it
in
goes-
striped,
It's the
it's in
yellow
nothing
stripe.
right now.
Yeah.
There's a spot that has, it's not a lane, it's just stripes.
Yeah,
In
so
the middle of the street?
Yeah.
I can show
And
you.
so, wait a second, I need to visualize this.
I can show you.
Yeah,
Show you.
okay.
If you look at Empire and Rogers here, you see we have this sort of no travel area on the right. It'll be right there. Where no one's turning left and needs a left turn bay, it'll be in that zone that is striped and prohibited for traffic.
All
Where the
of-
people gonna be turning, where the right people turn? So there's
No one's
one,
turning.
there's one,
So it'll be here going towards
Yeah, I can also show you an example.
All of the other
Every
avenues
other
have this.
avenue has one. This is an example of how it looks.
That's
Yeah.
Nostra, and they have it just, it's like a little pedestrian refuge island.
So
It's like Empire is not the slowest way, but it's still like you only get 15 seconds if you can,
Right.
and people get stuck.
So that's because I went out there with a wheel and I did some measurements as far as that arc radius. There's two radiuses that have to be, if you use a Seagrave vehicle, which is the most common fire apparatus that's used. Right? Minimum inner radius is 25 of the arc angle, and the outer is supposed to be 50 feet arc radius. And it's gonna be very close if you're making a right-hand, the fire department's making a right-hand turn
Can I,
off of Rogers onto Empire,
devil's advocate,
very close.
are any of the other avenues between here and Schenectady designated as fire corridors?
So I looked at, well, first of all, I just looked at Rogers and Empire. I didn't look at the rest, to be
Okay.
honest with you.
Cause like this is an existing condition on all the other avenues.
Yeah, but right here, you have
it's
where
not
the
a
fire
Bedford,
department,
it's not a Bedford, is
It's
it?
Bedford is, you can turn from both sides.
yeah, but here you have the fire department, they dispatch from Rogers
Yes.
and Maple. So when
But
they
no
go
street
up there,
can
if they're
turn
going
both
east or
ways,
west,
one-way
The
street.
Notion's one way, Bedford's two way.
yeah, but if
But
they're going
Empire,
east or west, that's, you don't wanna stop
It's not
It's
two-way.
on the screen.
the
But it's telling me
dispatch
it's
of that
two-way.
fire,
It's
of that fire
Bedford
apparatus.
is two way and Empire is two
So
way.
I can't talk about Albany Avenue, I didn't look at that.
Yeah.
I just know that the fire department dispatches from there, they go up to
You need turn-
Empire Boulevard, which is a fire apparatus access route, and it goes east and west.
Notion you only need on one
Alright.
side of Empire.
Okay. So that's.
So you have to include that
No,
It is.
in your thing.
I mean, yeah, I assume it'll be part of DOT's due diligence.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I've worked with the DOT in some projects, and I have had some young engineer from the DOT who didn't have a clue about the specs that I knew,
Okay.
his specs.
I'm just throwing something out there, I'm just throwing it out there.
So you should
said
put it in.
something that there's 15 seconds or something for crossing or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then people get stuck. Somebody said something about some stuff. So
Well,
what is the
it's a-
probability of them changing the light frequency so that it would allow the people to cross, whereas some of the streets,
You may just get a traffic backup though on
you
Empire.
know, how's the traffic backup if everyone, if they're doing a sync couple of seconds
You
more
want them to
in
do
all
a
of the.
district-wide traffic
Yeah, that-
retiming.
You know, it's on the computer now, it's not like
Right.
you're doing it, each
No.
man is going to do
That's
that.
still, that takes like 18 months. They've
Yeah.
said that in meetings, that they don't, it takes longer than you think.
Alright,
Remember when somebody was saying
Let's
we need
keep
to do
going,
it
let's
for.
keep going.
But I'm just looking at other options.
If you wanna add a title to the minutes, what they should, you should put that in the letters, what they should have to look at.
Thank you, Raj.
Alright, the other issue is what was just brought up about the races, in Washington Avenue being removed from the route. That letter, I believe, has gone out already, so I can confirm that letter went out to New York road runners and other parties, like the police, etc. After that, there's one issue that we have not brought up in a while, which is the Remsen Traffic Plaza expansion. Yeah.
Remsen?
Remsen, yeah, there was a law about a year
That's
ago.
a long time ago, I thought they did that,
They
It's
never
done.
came back to us with anything, though.
I thought they
Right,
finished that.
so-
Oh, it's done,
Concrete
but-
is there.
Yeah, but the traffic light times over there,
Oh.
need some updates based on
Yeah.
backups and stuff like that. So that's an issue that we have not like revisited in a while that we should see if we can resolve.
My daughter goes to school right over there. It is insane. It's there's not a single time you can cross safely, I would say, pretty much at any of those intersections, because the traffic, it can't fill there's maybe
There's
two
like 2 car lengths.
there's like
between-
2 car lengths, especially between East New York Avenue and Remsen, yeah. That like so you have 2 cars in there, and then the third car is blocking all of the crosswalk. So you can't even see if it's safe to cross because you can't see your traffic signal. But I see it both in the morning and in the afternoon coming back.
I think it's the timing of the lights, cause I was just over there, cause I had to go to some place on, was it East 95th or whatever is over there?
That's right there.
And it's like, how do I get through? So I hear what you're saying, that it takes 18 months, but we've been dealing with this for 24 months. The traffic that's over in that area, and DOT had come up with this plan for this traffic pattern, and it's like,
I mean,
what are we doing here, you know?
I think it is better than it was, but it's still not good.
To me, it's worse.
It's
To me, it's worse. I don't know. I don't go that often, but I go definitely once a month to drop somebody off over there, and I had to go to pick them up to go to Coney Island, and I was there for a couple of lights, and it was like,
Yeah.
So what's the
there's still-
remedy? What's
there's
the
still,
remedy?
I think it is better than it used to be. I used to, when I was young, I used to go to school when I was very young that way. And I remember what it looked like and,
Yeah.
you know, what it was like going out. Pretty bad. It might be a little bit worse now. It's still not good, but I can agree with you on that one, Paco.
And I would say, like, the project that they did was changing the configuration of Remsen and East New York Avenue, but it, like, if you just look at a map, or, yeah, he's got it pulled up there too, like, I would almost say, like, if we have them reanalyze, like, my daughter's school is right over there, and, can you zoom out a little more? Like, you can see, there's already, you know, a typical intersection is four-way intersection. There's just so much happening here. But then also, you get these small little sections here, and this little one-way street that just goes like one block, that there's cars just coming everywhere, and nothing lines up. So like, the cars coming down Montgomery here, trying to turn to East 92nd, if there's a backup here, they can't get through there, and then you just have, nothing is regular over here.
Yeah.
So I would encourage them to reevaluate probably from Rochester to at least to
City maybe?
Utica, or to over further to Schenectady. Because it's a ripple effect, and each of these are so small, that's like 2 or 3 car lengths.
Yeah.
If that's backed up, especially here, everyone's trying to avoid the bus only lane, so it's, like, I almost wanna get rid of the bus only lane there, so these cars can spill out. It's causing more problem there.
I'm excited.
That's a good sign. Maybe someone's not just stuck on one thing.
Yeah, no, it's not working properly.
They need to reverse the flow of Montgomery, that section, that block.
Yeah, like just that one block.
Any number of things might be the solution. We won't know if we don't ask.
Or, again, plan something and present it, see what they think.
Yeah.
Impact study?
So-
I don't know.
That's asking for more time to be invested.
That's a lot of thinking time though.
Yeah, which is what we're here for.
But
But we'll have to think it tonight.
No,
Yeah,
it's not tonight.
DOT
this
works over the
this is
summer.
pending.
DOT works over the summer. So
Yeah. We can always bring this up with them. And I mean, with the way the relationship between, the committee and DOT's been going, we are getting more of an earshot with them, which is good.
Okay.
So I think our concerns are gonna be taken up more quickly.
Okay. 6, what's next?
You might wanna
You wanna
use-
vote?
The fire department sidewalk parking is next.
This is the most interesting part of the meeting.
Yeah, we haven't had an update from FDNY in a minute about
I
about
think
that.
that's the update.
They were hoping to, but we forget.
Yeah, as we spoke last time, the FDNY basically, outlined that they needed their parking. They essentially begged for parking, which makes sense, as we don't want them, struggling to operate and don't know where to put their cars, because we need them in fire trucks. But at the same time, we're trying to make sure that, travel is safe, and if people have blind corners, that doesn't help.
So years ago, they never parked on the sidewalk. So what happened that they're parking on the sidewalk now?
Density. We don't have enough extra streets to put all the cars and people's in my
So that's not the reason.
What is the reason? Tell me.
The reason being that whole block used to be fire department parking on the street.
We talked about that. They said that.
And they took that away.
Yeah.
So why don't they just give it back?
Who's they?
I don't
DOT,
know.
I believe.
Somebody changed the signs from fire department parking only across the street. All that used to be
They
for
still
fire
have
department.
some of the signs with the gold
No,
stars.
the west side doesn't have it, it's the east
The
side.
west side, that's mostly garage doors.
Right, there's only
Yeah.
4 parking spots on that
So
side.
there used to be that, and it used to be all on the
But
side.
I think that there's more than 4 people parked illegally. There's
All
more
I can
people
tell you is
parked
for what I
illegally than-
know, when I was a young kid growing up in the neighborhood, is that they never parked on the sidewalk. Never.
Since 2012 they have.
Right, 2012. I'm talking way before
Right,
that.
but I mean.
So when he was a young lass.
Right.
I've been in this neighborhood for 59 years.
Just think of how
So
many fewer
I
cars there
know.
were, fewer people, like, it was different, but you're right, it used to be different.
They never paid. So what has to be done, I think I mentioned it before, that's a very wide sidewalk that they park on. The DOT can widen the street or shorten the sidewalk, whichever one you want to pick, half empty, half full, and make angle parking. They did it in Manhattan, up in Washington Heights, had the same problem. Then they widened the sidewalk, and they put angle parking. Fire department's happy, neighborhood is happy. Do the same thing.
It's not that wide.
That sidewalk is a wide sidewalk.
It's not, I mean.
When they back in.
When, it's not, I pass it every day, so my other kid going to school.
So 45-degree parking, that's what they have up in Washington Heights.
If it's 45 degree, yeah.
You make 45-degree parking, you could fit vehicles there.
And that area down on Rogers Avenue is much wider than up by us, here on Rogers Avenue. As soon as you cross Empire Boulevard, that's when Rogers Avenue narrows, but down there, it's a little wider.
Or you can get cement blocks, those wash blocks that they use, put them on the sidewalk, and that's their bumper, and they can't go
That
beyond
was
that
exactly
point.
what we proposed.
Yeah.
That was the idea we proposed, to sort of, if the fire department absolutely needed the sidewalk to park on, the least we could do is limit it so that people still have ample space to move. We have not heard about it. That was the proposal. That's what we came to as a solution with the fire department and the committee, but we haven't heard back on that.
Right.
It's DOT's a little bit slow. So actually, let me review the solutions that we came to. The solutions we came to were having concrete bumpers to limit the sidewalk incursion, so they don't park as far in as they might do currently. And the other solution was to make sure that the parking spots that they use closest to intersections would be used by the smallest vehicles. We wouldn't want a long pickup truck being at the intersection, because that would hamper line of sight when someone's making a turn. And they received both of those suggestions very well. It seems we just didn't hear back very quickly from DOT or either of them on implementation.
Well, I can tell you what works. Up there in Washington Heights, they did it and it worked, cause they
You
had
know
the
which
same
station?
problem. I can make a call, I can make a call.
I'm just curious to see it.
Yeah, I can make a
You know
call.
the
for
cross
it.
streets?
I haven't been up there in like 8 years. I have to,
That's all right.
yeah, I have to
wonder
make
if
a
it's still
call.
going, then.
But that's what they did, they just made angle
You know,
parking.
I think DOT is reluctant to,
I'm trying to find, yeah, I see it here, I see 84. And doing some angle parking here.
Yeah. Once you, if you have 45-degree parking,
Yes, I see it.
you'll fit them in there. Just cut back
you know
on the
what it
sidewalk.
probably is, the firefighters that are parking there, and it's not just firefighters, because it's the hardware store and the accountants, like, everyone's just parking on the sidewalk there. But they don't wanna get their car too close to the bus lane on Rogers, probably out of fear of being clipped, and so they don't go to the white line.
That's not it.
Cause I was gonna say, this is a little.
Oh, that's
That's
much
not
wider.
it. That's not it.
Well,
No, but it doesn't give you a
It's an
travel
example
lane.
of what.
Yeah, it is
we're
an
talking
example,
about.
yeah.
It is an example of what we're
Yeah,
talking
but see, if you have a one-way, if that's a one-way, if it was a one-way street.
But that's a
you gotta-
two-way
Yeah, no,
street.
if it was, just put it in your head.
Right.
Make it a one-way street,
Yeah,
right? And if you just
Oh,
cut the
right.
sidewalk,
yeah. Make that a one-way street, you got plenty of room
Yeah.
for the angle
and
parking.
you cut the sidewalk, you got your room.
I don't trust FDNY there to do anything that we asked them, it's been forever, you
Yeah.
know, for, the corners are the most dangerous,
Yeah.
because it blocks the sight line.
Right.
We could request DOT put street furniture there and block them from putting their cars there.
So here's a conversation, have y'all had the conversation, what was the dialogue? Have y'all had the
No, we're
next
just,
meeting?
we're
It
talking,
was-
I was just telling them there was all talk about dialogue that we had
Yeah,
last year.
they were very friendly and lied to us, as they have to the
Not what-
residents that
I
complain,
don't know
like,
if I would say it.
And you had the Black Association that came here, were they
Yeah.
included? Were they included in speaking to the fire department? You had two people, a woman and a man, that was here to discuss.
Yeah.
Were they
Right.
included in that?
The board office set it up, they didn't, I had no part in setting up the meeting.
but we told them of that petition was already going, and that was
Right.
directed to the electeds and FDNY and stuff, like, it's not a secret, like.
Okay, so, I don't mean to cut you off, cause I know that your points are very, important. You said you had a meeting with them, they said whatever, what was our follow-up to whatever? Was there a time that were you gonna get back to us in
They were gonna get back
30
to us.
days or 6 months, or they were supposed to get back to us when?
Shortly, and
Okay,
it's been
so-
like a year now.
So within the 60 days thereafter, did we follow up to say,
Yes,
hey,
yes. Dante, he's
blah, blah,
CC'd
blah, blah.
you and me probably on emails requesting, hey, remember that meeting we've had nothing.
Right. Also, I am
fire
also-
chief so-and-so, y'all talked to
Yeah.
fire chief so-and-so and
Dante did. I would also like to do it, but I'm not always going to, because I don't have a CB9 signature in my email address. So it's like, if I email, it's like a random person's emailing it.
So who
Right.
is
Dante's not
above
gonna
the firehouse? So you went to the fire chief, you said, hey, fire chief, blah, blah, blah. We followed up, hey, fire chief, I didn't hear from you, da, 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 da. And then for each of the letters that we had, did they have the elected official's name on the bottom? Was a CC at, I know there's what, one Federal Plaza is a police thing, but what's the fire department plaza?
police
And
plaza is a
one,
plaza.
you know, did it go to whoever, you know, cause Tish, I guess, was the fire chief back then, right? Did it go to her office? I'm just throwing it out there. You know, what do we do after so many times we go to the people and they're like, hey, you know, cause you know how things go. You know, you keep talking to the lower level folk, and then finally when they see the upper level folks named CC'd on there, they're like, oh,
This
you
has
know.
gone to the
They
mayor's
have,
office,
the
like,
mayor's office, they had the borough fire chief
yeah.
there for us as
Like, a
well.
lot of people showed up, it was weird.
Yeah.
There was like 7 or 8 people
Okay.
that looked like they were taking it super seriously.
Okay.
I don't believe it at all.
Oh.
They were, it doesn't take this long, like, they deal with emergencies, they can act fast.
So we have to reach back out to them.
Yeah, so we're gonna
Okay.
keep this as a thing that we're working on and
Okay.
see how we can, take different actions to get different results. But that, it's on the radar.
Okay.
And we'll see if we can get something good.
Can I get a list of all of those things that?
We have a list, it's in the WhatsApp channel.
It's in
It's in the WhatsApp, yeah.
I mean,
I looked at many last
I
week.
mean, print it out.
It changes
I have
every day. If I print it up now, it's gonna be invalid by tomorrow.
Anything else? So we have 7?
Guess I have to print
The
it out.
last one was the Lancaster Youth Association.
Oh, so we already kind of.
That one's already essentially
Yeah.
done, so I'm gonna update that one right now, is why.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
So now,
Can I ask some more?
I'm so
I'm
glad we had
sorry.
this time
No.
together.
No, I know, I'll be quick. So we got a couple of dining out applications for Lincoln Road today. We talked to some block association people for Lincoln Road, or for Sterling Street. What's going on with the Lincoln Road redesign? Because we asked in January to send a survey to residents and gather community feedback and input.
Yeah, we didn't do that yet.
We didn't do it yet.
Yeah.
That was step 1 of the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
When
Okay,
you
so
say
can we do that?
redesign, when you say redesign, you want to have the cars go in one direction into the park?
I wanna get a survey from the
Survey for the
neighborhood.
people who it would impact. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, to get their feedback on what works, what doesn't work, cause we
For them,
we
since they're there.
think we think one thing, but we hear all the time from people that are there totally different experiences about like, no, the biggest issue I have is with bus idling or something else. We don't know if we don't ask, and I'd like to bring that back up.
I forgot her name, but I asked that woman that brought the petition about bus idling, Maria maybe? I asked her, as she's talking to her neighbors about the bus idling, if they think Lincoln's working and like, should it be two-way, one-way, and she seemed receptive to it, and she said a few people she spoke to were also receptive to it. As long as they still have access.
We need to do a traffic study of what happens along Ocean Parkway, is it Park? Yeah.
Ocean Avenue.
Ocean Avenue, thank you. Ocean Avenue, right, if you block off that street, because you're talking more than a mile of roadway, and no way to get off. Once you enter from Parkside, you
That's
go
it.
all the way up, you're done, or until you get to Empire Boulevard. You have no way to get off. So you need a traffic study, you don't just need surveys.
Well,
There is an
surveys
engineer.
were us doing. We can't do a
surveys for
traffic study.
us to put together what we want, and then we take that to the DOT, and they say
It would be
absolutely
about
not.
2,000 feet. I'm not sure that's a mile.
5,285,
So
5,280
it's
feet.
definitely not a mile.
So go
How about
from,
to
when you go
Flatbush,
from Parkside, all the way up to Flatbush, what is that?
Oh yeah, let's decide that one. Let's,
Parkside, all the way up to
What's the distance?
Flatbush.
I know that.
Yeah, not sure that'll add
Anyway.
a mile, but we can
Let's see what it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Was it 3/4 of a mile?
Let me start. Let's
Well,
see how we can run that.
It's another 920 feet from Lincoln.
So it's
to
52,
Empire.
5280 feet is 1 mile.
Right. It's about 3,000 around there.
3,000?
3,000.
Alright, so 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so for 3/4 of a mile, you're committed and you can't get off.
That would be like every expressway between exits.
And fire
So
department
It's not
as
an
well.
expressway though.
And fire department as well. Cause that's a fire department access
But
road.
the fire department would go the wrong way on the street. As
But
things
not,
are right
not
now.
if you have
Nope.
all the traffic, wait a minute, if you have the amount of traffic, that's gonna block that street. And you get one utility company, open up one manhole, you're done.
It's a lot of conditionals. I think that this is putting the
Manholes
we
are opened up on that street quite often.
I know. I'm saying that I think that the first step is to ask the community if they are happy with the status quo. Because I
Okay.
think that many people that live there and many people that use that road every day are not happy and think it could be improved.
So how do you
Then-
plan to do that?
So,
We passed a resolution, sorry, I'm raising my voice.
No,
We
no,
passed
If
a
you
resolution
have-
in
if-
January,
Expressive.
we passed a resolution in January to send out a survey. And we
And
just
what
didn't do
happened?
anything.
Okay.
And that's why I'm trying to follow back on that part.
you
that's step
have, you
one.
have no way of getting off of 3/4 of a mile of roadway.
And I think that was an impact study that we.
Yeah,
sent
I mean,
to
I can see it right off the
We did
bat.
not send it in, we did not request an impact
Because what
study.
happened is this, you had, because you closed off one street already. One roadway was already closed off, that's going into the park, Parkside,
But
Parkside Park, or East Drive or whatever, that's cut off.
an impact study,
Well, but
this
not
is the
for
emergency,
emergency.
they're using the same
That's just was normal,
technology.
right? That's just
No, but
also
an
just for the
impact study-
park. Now you can't
Where the
get
result
in
was
or
to
out.
close off Classic, right?
Okay, so do a
There's still
traffic
that
study.
kind of traffic impact.
So have a traffic study done.
Yeah.
We also have Flatbush Avenue, which is another gauntlet
Why
between
would
Ocean
we have
and
problems to
Eastern
do an
Park, right?
impact study?
Yeah, but Flatbush Avenue is a multi-lane highway, isn't? How many are on
The
there?
lane.
I believe right now.
And
there
there's
is-
no residents and no cars parked on there.
Because you would have thought it
Right?
impacts
No, there are cars parked on one side.
On Flatbush? Okay. Do you have residents on there too?
You definitely have cars parked on there. We
Do
don't
you have residents? Do you have residents parked
No,
there?
unless you live in the zoo, no residents.
So you have no residents, right? So what happens, you have a lot going on there, especially when you had that smorgasbord thing going on there in Prospect Park. Holy cow, you gotta be kidding me. Have you been up there?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
part of the
okay,
reason
that's
I'm
the
asking
problem.
for this.
So when you have the smorgasbord, you cannot drive anywhere down there.
That's why we need.
So that's why you need the traffic study
We were
just
in
for
agreement,
that.
we need a traffic study, we can't do that.
Why
We
not?
can't.
We can ask DOT
Yeah.
to produce a traffic
Right.
study
That's above
for
our
no
pay grade.
reason.
It's not above the pay grade, you can
We,
come and
no,
do
but we
that.
want changes. What changes? Let's find out what changes we want, and then we pair that with the request
So,
for a traffic
so okay,
study.
I think I have a couple clarifications.
Okay,
So first,
alright, do it that way, do it that way.
I'm
So when that was first
otherwise
brought
we're gonna
up-
end up with an issue like Brooklyn
the
Kingston,
time
where
of the
people
time-
people pull out surveys from other areas
Yeah, we
and
got
they
2
say,
minutes.
no, you're
9:28.
Yeah.
Keep it quick.
Alright, do it that way.
Okay.
Because of time, do it that way.
I'm gonna say
Do it
something
that
real
way.
quick.
Because of time, do it that way.
When this was first brought up, the reason for the survey is that people were doubting that anyone wants changes on Lincoln Road. So that's why we were like, let's listen to what people are currently feeling about the status quo, right? Let's see if there's a need for a change in the first place and see what happens there. And now there are of course other situations where it's like, let's not make it worse, right?
I'm
The whole
listening.
thing is let's not make it worse. I mean, those are both necessary parts of the process. I think in any case, DOT might or might not have thoughts on what could work there. We should see what those are. But the survey is, I think, is still a good move because we do want to see if there's even cause for a change in the first place, right? I think they're both good steps. I think the survey might come first because we want to see if there's a reason to even start this process. And of course, we also want to see if this change will make things worse or better. I
Alright,
think we are
listen,
in
from
the
an
right-
engineering point of view, I look at it differently. You guys look at it from a survey point of view, so I respect the
Well,
ways you want, your methods.
Both.
And
I
from
respect
an
your
engineering
methods.
point of view, you make Flatbush less
9:29.
congested because you have fewer light cycles to go through. You don't have a two.
Flatbush where,
one
Flatbush
way.
where, what are you talking about?
Flatbush at Lincoln.
Right.
Because you have 2 light cycles right now that you
That's
have to
why the
wait
buses
for.
get stuck.
Okay,
If you make it one way, you don't have 2 light cycles.
And that would ease Ocean up.
okay, but what happens with the traffic that's coming in from Flatbush and Empire?
They continue to go down, and very few people start on Flatbush and Empire, go down to Lincoln, and then get back on Flatbush.
And what about the other way? You been there on a Sunday? You been there on Sunday?
Yes, I live
We
there.
live right there.
Oh, good,
I
so
live
you know
there.
the traffic issues there, especially when the
Time
churches,
is 9:30.
when the churches are there.
Alright.
Alright, it's 9:30,
And they're
it's
all
9:30.
They're all going that
9:30.
way. I want to keep it going that direction.
Okay, listen,
Alright, it is
I-
9:30.
do your surveys.
Actually, I don't want them
Do
to
the
go any
surveys.
specific way. I want the area to be less congested and easier to move around as a public
So-
transit user, as a biker, as a walker, as a smorgasbord eater.
Do the surveys.
But they
And
had
then
so,
go
but
to the
they
next
planned
one.
so many things in that particular area. You want less traffic congestion and all that, but everyone wants to have all their events,
Yeah,
everything that's going on,
No.
tons of restaurants at
No,
that
that's
particular
strict.
spot. So
But the-
how do we
the
look
people-
at how we can work together?
Melissa has the right idea.
The people walking on
Go.
the sidewalk are not the ones
The
honking.
The bag is on.
Alright, I'm gonna say,
So we're gonna do a survey, is that the plan?
we.
Do your survey, do the survey.
We're gonna do it.
We haven't done a walk of that side of the district yet, so we can begin the year
Yeah.
with a walk of the area.
We can do the
On a
walk. We
Sunday.
can do the walk during the hiatus. That's
Do it
not
and
meeting
do
and
it on a
voting,
Sunday.
but we can, we're still alive, like, we're still gonna be doing things, right? Right? But either way, yep, alright, so it's 9:30, we've gone through the agenda, it's exhausted, we essentially said we're
Thank
done.
you, person who came. What's your name, King?
9:30.
What's your
Was there
name?
something you wanted to?
Supposed to be?
Yeah,
I'm a new board member, so.
Oh, okay, okay, I know that.
Yeah.
What's
It's a
your
very,
name
it's a
again?
fun bunch.
Vadim Gabor.